Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Welcome in on a Monday morning. Penn State's looking for a football coach, and Kalani Sitake's name is in the mix. Will he do it? Will he get the offer? Will he get the counter from BYU? What does he want to do? Will the Nittany Lions pivot in another direction? Oh, there are so many questions. We will get to this as the morning goes on. We will begin, though, with a recap of the weekend. Utah State. How did you lose to Boise State? They already had 4 losses. They're having a down year. You could knock them out of the conference title game, but instead they come back and win 25-21. The Aggies going for it. A couple of fourth downs, spots on the field where I'm not sure is a good idea, but hey, the analytics say. Bronco Mendenhall after the game.
An emotional loss, and you've experienced way too many of those over the last few weeks. Now that the regular season's over, you look forward to a bowl game, but what do you say to these guys after a hard-fought game in which they were the better team for a good chunk of this game?
I just shared that I was proud of them and that I couldn't have asked more in terms of their effort, their commitment, their unity, their intent, and their commitment all through the week to win this game. They tried really hard. They battled with their full heart, and they did everything they could do and how they were prepared to win the game. And as we saw the game play out, certainly the leader, that's me, is responsible for any time we go for it on fourth down. And so we didn't convert a 4th and 2 and a 4th and maybe a half a yard. And those small margins absolutely make a difference. As the game goes on, I think Boise, third down became a critical down where they were able to convert on third down more than we would have liked, and we weren't able to convert on third down at a rate needed. And while that didn't allow a ton of points or a huge separation, we weren't able to separate. They kind of kept chipping away, even though there weren't giant scoring drives. But you could just kind of feel the control of the game, the momentum, I would say, was something we couldn't separate from or didn't just by really third down execution. So I think that was an underlying factor. In between all those plays, they were battling like crazy, and then some penalties that we had tonight were very difficult in terms of setting us back and moving us back.
Coach, talk about that first fourth down. You're inside your own 15-yard line, and I think it was right out of the third and fourth quarter break, and you had to line up ready to go. They called the timeout and then shifted. Looked like you guys changed your play call as well. I'm curious your mindset going into that, knowing that if you kick the field goal, you can go up by 8 and try to maybe get a little bit of separation. Talk about your thoughts through that process.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a really close game for sure. One score game was certainly what we were anticipating. Whether that was going to be a field goal or a touchdown with a 2-point conversion wasn't certain. Intuition and knowing Bryson and my belief in him, I absolutely believe we could get 2 yards. And so there's the intuition part for sure, which I'm responsible for. Coach McGivern obviously endorsed as well and believed we could get it. And then analytics-wise, we have a book like anyone else does, and it gives all the decisions, and that also said 4th and 2 or less. None of that matters other than I'm the one that made the decision, and I believe in my players and I believe in Bryson, and it ended up not working, and I'm responsible for that, and believed it was the right thing, as I did when it was 4th and 6 inches or whatever it was later in the game.
Kind of walk me through, Barnes completes the pass, and it appears from our angle that it's good enough for a first down, which would have stopped the clock to move the chains. You don't have any timeouts, but I mean, is there an ability for the official to step in and say, well, let's review that to see if it's a first down? Because that seemed like the inability to be able to decide whether it's a first really cost you a chance to move that ball into field goal range.
It did, and the communication was just really frustrating. And there's a chance to review and all the plays, right, that have meaning when it's the sideline or scoring or et cetera. And the answer is yes, it could have been done, and really frustrated.
94 plays defended on defense, almost 37 minutes time of possession, but only, again, 25 points. We have to just look at what this defense has done over the last few weeks, and just to tip our cap to Nick and his staff and these kids. They just kept battling and trying to keep the offense, giving them more opportunities to score.
And it had a lot to do with my decisions of just trusting and watching them, what they were doing and how they were doing it, and continuing to make those stops. And I was leaning on them harder and harder through the decisions I was making through the course of the game. And man, they're fiercely tough, and who they've become through the course of this season, and the chances they're giving us and the chance they gave us tonight to win I was really proud of them for sure.
When you look at a game like this, Coach, and obviously we're so excited that you get the 6th win last week and you get to bowl eligibility, but when you go back, and I'm probably going to have to look at the film and take a couple of days to analyze this, but I mean, for years now, this team has been several touchdowns away from Boise State. Is that gap closing, or is that a year-by-year situation?
I think it's too early to say. I believed going into this game that it was going to be this type of game, that they were a top-tier Mountain West team, but I believed we are, and we're playing that way as well. And if you look at possibly who'll be playing for the conference championship, it might be UNLV and Boise. I don't know all the scenarios, but if it is, that's a couple missed kicks and a couple non-converted 4th downs. That really comes down to the difference if it plays out like that. So I think, as I've mentioned, the entire year, parity is throughout this league. I think we have as good a chance as anyone, and I think we've demonstrated that through the course of the year. But no one wants the success more for our team, our fans, the former players here than I do. And I was just so impressed by the attendance, the support we received tonight playing here in Maverick Stadium, what it's been like all year. And for our fans to turn out and support us like that again I'm just grateful. And I just think it's been exceptional.
With a lot of young players coming onto this, or that are on this roster, just how important are these next few weeks that you get in extra practices and their development for their long-term growth?
It's mixed. So there is that opportunity for sure. The season's also been long, and finals week finishing school and finals weeks are coming up, and so enough appropriate rest prior to enough practice to give us our best chance to win our bowl game, but also to develop players. So much of that has to do with whom we're playing and when, the academic calendar, and how all that fits. And so there's moving parts. Yeah, extra practices help. They also sometimes are redundant and not needed in relation to context of what a team looks like injury-wise, where the academic calendar fits, and when you're playing. And so we'll devise that as we go.
And I know you got early signing day is, I guess not early anymore, but next week with your high school signings. But I'm just curious, Coach, out of what happened 2 weeks ago and again tonight, what are the positive messages that you can take out of those difficult situations that you can teach your young men and your staff that comes out of these kinds of tough situations?
Well, you have to play your way into those games before you can play your way and win them. And there's a number of those that you take right to the end, and that then becomes what you're expecting, what you're seasoned for, what you're capable of, and then there becomes a confidence and a stability and a consistency that happens in those moments, and that's right where we are. So we're pushing it right to the very end against UNLV. Went on the road, played really well, and beat Fresno, and then at home had a great chance tonight and multiple opportunities to separate and to win, and so that's all well deserved and hard earned by our team. And now, right, the execution and the precision throughout, we just keep working to make that cleaner. So I've always kind of shared philosophically that culture precedes performance, and so the matter-of-factness of how hard and how much the investment and how the commitment they're putting in is remarkable. Now the execution has to match that and then hold in the critical moments, and that's the sequence really of how it works.
All right, there's Utah State football coach Bronco Mendenhall. We got more football coming up with the Utes and the Cougars. We also have to check in on the Jazz and Mammoth. Bad weekend there. We'll get to that next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Welcome in. A reminder, join Hans and Scotty at the El Matador Restaurant, 606 South Main in Bountiful today from noon to 3. El Matador, a Utah Mexican food staple for over 50 years. Well, the Utah Mammoth, that was a bad month in November. More one-goal losses, a couple of them over the weekend. Let's get to the best of the Mammoth postgame show.
DJ and PK, the Utah Mammoth fell 1-0 in St. Louis on Saturday night to the Blues. They are in San Jose tonight. That'll be an 8 o'clock face-off. We'll be on the air right here on the EKSL Sports Zone at 7 o'clock with Hockey Night in Utah for Game 3 of the 6-game road trip. Tough weekend for the Mammoth. It started with the passing suddenly of Utah captain Clayton Keller's father, Brian, as the team arrived to Dallas on Thursday evening. Found out that he'd passed away suddenly in his sleep. So some heavy hearts and some heavy emotions out there on the shoulders of the Mammoth this weekend. They fall 4-3 in Dallas on Friday. They fall 1-0 in St. Louis on Saturday. So what was 2 straight wins for the Mammoth going into Wednesday night, now 3 straight 1-goal losses. But you could tell, they weren't quite as connected as usual, and there was a lot more than hockey going on for the Mammoth this weekend. Real bright spot for Utah on Saturday night, Karel Vejmelka. He stopped 18 of 19.
Out ahead, here come the Blues with numbers. Buchnevich back for Broberg. Buchnevich shoots. Kicked away by Vejmelka. Wrist shot. Save made by Utah's netminder.
3 times in the last 4 games, he's allowed 2 goals or less. So you remember there was some questions about Vejmelka and his numbers in November not being as high as usual, but seems to be right back on track there. And again, the Mammoth, a couple key moments in 3 straight games from having 3 straight wins falling by a count of 1-0 on Saturday night. And again, the raw emotion of Utah playing for their captain, Clayton Keller, who had just lost his father. We heard from Clayton after the game on Saturday night.
A, how are you doing, and what did that mean to you tonight?
Whew. Yeah, first off, teammates, coaching staff, management has been unbelievable towards me, my family. Big thanks to the Blues for everything they did tonight. They didn't have to do that. Lots of memories at this rink. Growing up, coming to games here, sitting on my dad's lap, my grandpa's lap. Just admiring those players and wanting to be out there. So it was definitely a tough, a couple of days, but I couldn't have done it without, my family, my teammates. They had my back always. And I care for them more than anything.
Utah had a 5-minute power play in the third period. Scary moment. Logan Cooley skating through the neutral zone got kneed by Alexei Toropchenko. He left the game, did not return. Utah got a 5-minute power play and did not score on it. That's another thing Utah is hoping to leave behind in that month of November is their power play scoring just a pair of power play goals the entire month. Let's hear more on the contest from Saturday night from Utah head coach Andre Cherney.
I think we had a slow start, and I think we got back better after, but still too many individual mistakes. We shoot ourselves on the foot on changes and on turnover. So it's we play structure hockey. We do a lot of good stuff, but we need to get over the hump and find a way to win games.
In terms of some of the details, cycle chances, interior shots, things like that on the offense, what was causing, I guess, was it self-inflicted or was there challenging?
No, I think we worked, but our execution was not good enough. We need to connect more play together, and that is not something it's not something you want. In the sense, the player they don't try to not execute. They try to do the right thing, but we need to dig deep and find a way to have the more swagger with the puck and make more plays. And I think we don't generate enough volume. We did last game before, but today it was not enough volume at the net and not enough traffic at the net.
We did just get a chance to speak to Keller for the first time. The gestures done by the St. Louis Blues and the Dallas Stars, can you speak to kind of just the hockey family and obviously the support they're showing for your team?
That's amazing. You know, it's that's what's unbelievable about hockey. It's unbelievable people in that game, and I think it's coming from the right place, coming from the heart, and we appreciate it a lot. And well, we will have hope to get the 2 points for Cals, but it is what it is.
Cooley went off the ice.
No, I don't have an update. I don't know.
So 4 more on this trip: tonight in San Jose, Wednesday in Anaheim, Friday Vancouver, Saturday Calgary. All the games will start at 8 p.m. and will be on the air at 7 p.m. right here on the KSL Sports Zone. Hockey night in Utah. The Mammoth back home a week from tonight, taking on the Los Angeles Kings. We'll be talking all about the Mammoth all week long. We're back from our Thanksgiving break with all new episodes of Mammoth Daily, wherever you get your podcasts: Apple, Spotify, on the Utah Mammoth YouTube page, and SCG Plus. Mike Folta and myself every day for 30 minutes or so. We've got the Monday Morning Power Play on today's episode, so hope you can like and download that and share it after you listen to DJ and PK. So have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll be back later on tonight right here on the KSL Sports Zone with Hockey Night in Utah ahead of the Mammoth and the San Jose Sharks for the second time in less than 2 weeks. These two teams went to overtime in their last meeting on November 18th. Utah beat them at Delta Center 6-3 in October.
Utah Mammoth will try to turn things around in December after winning just 4 times in the month of November. All right, let's switch gears to the Utah Jazz. They did get the win over Sacramento on Friday, but then Sunday blown out by Houston. Not competitive. Here's the best of the postgame show.
JP Chung on your Jazz recap on DJ and PK. The Utah Jazz played one of the best teams in the league in the Houston Rockets, and they were outclassed. 129-101 the final score. 17 total turnovers, 14 steals by Houston. Led by Alperen Şengün with 27 points. Kevin Durant chipped in with 25, and that's quite the luxury to have KD be an add-on and not have to be the main piece. After the game, Will Hardy gave his thoughts on a tough outing.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good game. A lot of categories. Live ball turnovers, 14 of them. You know, we've talked about this before. It's impossible to make up for those plays. Not being strong with the ball in different moments. You know, I assume there's going to be 3 or 4 a game where the ball flies out of your hands or things happen. But got to be a little more solid. You know, we obviously didn't shoot the ball well from 3 at all. And I thought for the majority of the game, we actually did a really good job of keeping them off the glass. At halftime, they had 5 offensive rebounds. You know, this is a team that lives on the offensive glass. You know, we have to continue to find ways to fight through the really physical, tough games. We have to continue to meet the level of physicality that our opponents bring to the table. But these are good learning moments for our team. I thought Ace played really well tonight. Bounce back and play him again tomorrow.
Are teams defending Lowry any different over the last 5 games? No.
What do you like about Nurk's impact to tonight's game? 14 points, 9 assists.
I thought Nurk finished well in the pocket. He's had some moments this year where he's struggled with his little floater that he's actually, you know, I watch him shoot it all the time at practice and in our gym, and he's pretty good at it. he finished well. I thought he obviously took care of the ball better tonight. But those little in-between shots for centers when you're not making plays over the top, right? Like Nurk does a lot of his work on the floor. He's not playing over the top of the defense. So when he catches the ball in the pocket, he's making a lot of decisions, and I think that floater's got to be a weapon for him.
Is Lowry just on a cold streak then, or is there something else you want to see from him?
He just hasn't. I think his balance has struggled a little bit. Getting his feet assembled. Lowry's shooting is really the least of my concerns. I think he's a heck of a player. I think there's a lot of data that would say that he's a really good shooter. Last 2 games he's gotten a lot of looks that he has made a lot of in the past. But I don't want Lowry, and the reason why I'm quick to cut that conversation off is like I don't want Lowry to obsess about his shooting. It has nothing to do with our team's success. Lowry draws so much attention for us on the offensive side of the ball. He's done such a good job of adding layers to his game. He puts pressure on the rim. He gets to the free throw line. And I want him to approach every night assuming that he's Lowry Markkinen and he's one of the elite shooters in our game. I think sometimes when there are little pockets where the perimeter shooting goes cold, there can be a lot of questions as to like why, and then we can start to really overanalyze ourselves. Is it my base? Is it my follow through? Is it my grip? You start thinking about it too much. I want Lowry to trust the work that he's put in and that he continues to put in.
Keontae, he had been playing really well before tonight. Do you want him to watch the film of this, or do you just say, hey, go back to play the way you were, 2 days ago?
I think not watching it would be a mistake. I think we all have to face hard things. I think there's things to be learned from tonight's game. And I have no doubt that Keontae can and will learn from tonight's game. So yeah, I would anticipate that he's going to watch the film and come out and play a lot better tomorrow.
I know Ace already saw Katie in preseason, but just to see him hit that shot over him and moving that shot kind of down low, what do you like about how he's meeting the moment and it doesn't look like things are too big for him out there? He just kind of has a good feel.
Yeah, Ace is playing great, and I think he continues to show us all glimpses into the future of things that he can be capable of. Making shots over the top is a really important skill in our league, especially when you start looking at end of games in the playoffs. A lot of those shots have to be made. And so Ace is showing an ability to get off a variety of shots, and he's having some success, which I think is good. It's taking some restraint to not overemphasize those things right now and make his life solely about those things. I think there's going to be a time and a place where there's going to be more of that. But Ace has a really good way about him in terms of I haven't seen him look nervous yet. He just goes out there and plays. He plays within the construct of the team. He's learning really fast, and he's continuing to get better.
Most guys who seem like to get to the NBA have been an elite scorer at some point in their life. What is it that separates the guys that are able to continue to do it at this level? Is there a common theme?
Well, I think how you scored matters. I think at lower levels, sometimes the ability to get on the rim run by your guy. I'm more athletic than everybody I'm playing. I think you get to this level and the athleticism really changes. And so I think shooting's never going out of style. Like, it's still the premier skill in our game. And so I think you see guys that can make a variety of shots from different parts of the court, 3, mid-range, floater, at the rim. I think those are the guys where it translates the best, but I also think the guys who adapt and learn when they get in the league, that, Kevin Durant is one of the premier examples of efficiency, and that I don't mean that in terms of shots going in, like that is true, but he doesn't waste dribbles. If he can face up and shoot it over you without dribbling, he will. If you make him dribble it once, he will, but he's not going to do more than he has to. And I think the best scorers in our game, they're taking what is given to them. They have counters for different ways they're being guarded, but they don't overcomplicate it.
For the Jazz offensively, they were led by Ace Bailey. He continues to impress, including a rock the baby move up on Kevin Durant. He finished with 19 points and spoke on facing KD.
What's the biggest takeaway from this game in terms of what you guys need to do differently tomorrow?
Communicate, for sure. Just communicate, being in positions, following the scout.
For you, you got the matchup against KD in the preseason too, so this isn't the first time. But just do you continue to kind of learn from him in games like this?
Yeah, for sure. Before we played him, I watched. When I sat down and watched them play OKC plays the Spurs in the finals, I watched him just get like 10 straight. How easy it was, 1-2 dribbles. So I still watch him, yeah, for sure.
I know you guys talked a little bit pregame when he came out onto the court. What did he say to you?
Nothing, just speaking the game of basketball. That's how we usually talk about basketball. Just little things around that.
What's getting easier?
Finding my shots. Knowing, finding the right passes, finding my shots. Going to rebound. It's coming, just game by game.
When you have as many counters as you do in your game, is that hard to know when to use them, or is that something you naturally have?
I've God-given talent, so I say something natural. Just reading it. Me just taking my time and reading it.
Did you like the early game?
It's my first early game. This is my first early back-to-back early game. So it was fun. It wasn't bad. I came out with energy, so it wasn't bad.
Lauri Markkanen had a tough one, 18 points on 5 of 12 from the field. He discussed it postgame about the need to bounce back.
Lauri, what was Will's message for you guys after the game?
We didn't talk much. I think everybody knows what went wrong. It was just really bad first half start, and then obviously it was just a really tough night, just flat. And I'm sure we're going to talk about it tomorrow morning and how we can fix that. But I think everybody's just disappointed on the effort, and nothing really went our way. So not much to say. I feel like everybody needs to look in the mirror. They're going to kind of use this night to self-reflect and see. The thing about the NBA is we play them tomorrow, so no time to dwell on it. We got to fix what went wrong. And move on.
Do you like that it's a back-to-back against the same team?
It's the NBA. I'm not sure if I've ever actually played the same team on a back-to-back. Might be wrong, but it is what it is. It's a back-to-back for us, and I think it's a good test for us how we're going to see the same team and how we can fix the things that went wrong and hopefully prove this night wrong. And so that's exciting.
What were some of the things you saw in the first quarter defensively that you did like that the team was doing when you guys were kind of scrambling and keeping Houston on their toes?
Yeah, that's got to be the whole game though. Or start the second half. I think we did a solid job on both ends of the floor. We moved the ball and we got some stops. We cut it to 14, I think, something like that. But that's the intensity you got to play with. NBA is so talented, so I'm not even singling out any teams. It's everybody. To give yourself a chance to win, you got to bring that for a full game. So we showed we can do it, but obviously short stint doesn't really help. So it's got to bring it all, the whole 48 minutes.
When you are on a bit of a cold streak shooting, do you have to fight the urge to change things, or do you want to change things?
I think it's just, you know that the number's going to even out when you're doing the right things. You keep working on it, you watch film, that how you can get more balance and kind of get your normal shots. And obviously it's tougher when you're not just getting like wide open, just naked ones, you know, but the more so you got to watch film of how to get your foot around, how to get your balance. But once you keep doing that and working on it, I know that numbers will even out. So obviously it's a long season, so there's going to be hot streaks and there are a little tougher moments, but it's all part of it. So.
Do you feel like teams are giving you less space?
Like?
You said just like kind of those naked shots when you're wide open. Are you seeing fewer of those?
No, I'm just saying like the defensive coverage of like you're coming off screens instead of like, I mean, every now and then you get a good one from, and lately even those have been coming out in and outs and stuff, but especially those you focus on sticking every shot and really see the fundamentals are correct, and those going to start falling again, so I'm not worried.
Thank you.
Same two teams battle tonight. Pre-game coverage between the Jazz and the Rockets begins at 6 o'clock on SEG Media.
All right, there is the best of the post-game show. And a reminder, nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination to kslsports.com/contest. Listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner and help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Kalani Sitake and Kyle Whittingham after they pick up their wins this weekend. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Well, the Utes did it. They get win number 10. It wasn't pretty. The run defense was better, not great. The run offense was good, but not great. But ultimately, they got the 10th win. That's what matters. Here's Kyle Whittingham after the game.
All right. Proud of our guys to get the 10th win on the season. It's not easy to do, and just so proud of them for hanging in there, kept finding ways to make plays. Key to the whole entire game was our red zone defense. There was no doubt about that. Jackson Benny's pick in the end zone, Scooby's pick six in the red zone. Holding them to a field goal early on. I mean, there was so many things that in the red zone defensively that we did well. That was really, again, the difference in the game. Run defense still got a lot of work to do there. They rushed for nearly 300 yards, so we didn't get that entirely fixed, but they did a nice job. They had a nice plan. They followed the blueprint that Kansas State followed, multiple tight ends, power run game. And so it wasn't as bad as last week by any means, but it's still not where we need to be. But again, the red zone defense offset that and really is what the biggest key in the game was. Offense took a while to get going, didn't really get into a rhythm in that first half. Started getting some things going in the second half. But they're good on third down. You know, we converted, 7-13 or something like that on third down. We were not good enough on third down defensively. They had a lot of success on third down as well. But overall, we kept finding ways to make plays, stay in the game, and our guys found a way to win in the end. And again, 10-win season is outstanding for anybody. So we're excited about that. Questions?
Coach, can you walk us through the 3rd and 5 play and ended up in a 48-yard touchdown to Larry Simmons late in the game?
We're debating on whether to just run the ball, keep the clock running, or not. You know, just take our best shot to get the first down. And so after talking to Jason, so I decided, hey, whatever play you think has got the best success to get a first down, don't necessarily worry about the clock running, just to convert. And he'd been sitting on that play for quite a while. I guess he's had it since he was back in Virginia or something. But they worked to a T. And Larry Simmons' touchdown to reception ratio is incredible this year. I call him Touchdown Larry. I started calling that about a month and a half ago, and he's lived up to that name. So he was the recipient of that pass, beautifully executed by Devin. Offensive line did another nice job, although it was one of our lower rushing totals for the year. But I thought the offensive line played well in addition. Really, the only negative in the game is the rush defense. I mean, that was the big negative. But we'll just continue to work on that.
Now, the Jackson Benny interception seemed to kind of change things for you.
It did.
Kind of talk about what that meant for you.
Yeah, it looked like the quarterback was just trying to throw it away and get rid of it. We had everything covered up, and we flushed him out of the pocket. He was on the move, and just didn't get it. The quarterback was not able to get it out of harm's way. And Jackson tracked it down and made a great play. And like I said, that one and the Scooby Davis pick six were huge. Probably would have had another pick six if Smith Snowden hadn't fallen down earlier in the game. But 3 interceptions in a game is outstanding, and interceptions are more damaging to an offense than fumbles. And so it's just statistically proven. And so anytime you can pick a guy off 3 times, your chance of winning are pretty good.
Offense was pretty flat most of the game. Were you able to pinpoint a reason for that?
Can't hear you.
I said offense was pretty flat most of the game. Were you able to pinpoint a reason for that?
No, we just never. First of all, Kansas was playing good defense, but I don't know. Hopefully, the cold didn't bother us. I mean, that would be a weak excuse if that was the deal. But we just never got into a real rhythm. Devin is still not himself. I mean, you can see that. Look at some tape early in the year when he's himself, and now, and he's just not quite able to do the things he did early on. But did a good job, took care of the football for the most part. Had the 1 fumble on the run by Bird. Otherwise, we won the turnover margin 3-1, so we were +2. But offense did enough. We still had over 400 yards, but we're just used to having more from the offense this year. Just wasn't our most productive game offensively.
Over the next 2 weeks, you got a decision to make for your contract.
I do?
What? Yeah. You don't have.
You putting a gun to my head on that?
No. But what do the next 2 weeks look like for you?
Well, tomorrow I'm going to be spread eagle on the couch, laying there just watching college football and seeing what happens. Maybe clothed, maybe not clothed. I don't know. But I'll just, it takes some time to decompress and to reflect. We may have a game next week. Who knows? And so right now is not the time to really comment on that or even think about it yet. But everyone knows that's out there, and we'll see what happens. But right now I'm having a heck of a time coaching this team. It was a fun year, and not quite over yet. We've got a little more football left.
Coach, after going 5-7 last year, what does it mean for this team to get to 10 wins in the regular season?
Well, it's huge, and I thought about maybe last year being the last go around, but it couldn't, as I've said many times, I just couldn't stomach ending on that. We needed to right the ship, get things headed back in the right direction, and I believe we've certainly done that this year.
Can you talk about Larry Simmons' emergence here at the end of the season? How has he kept working?
Larry has been a guy that has just continued to work hard. I'm sure he would have liked to have played more snaps in the first half of the season, but he never had a sulky attitude, never stopped working, just kept doing his thing, and he's now had a very nice year. I don't know, he's got to have 6-7 touchdowns this year, and so he's been a big part of our offense, and credit to him for not just getting discouraged and going in the tank. He just kept at it.
There's Utah football coach Kyle Whittingham after win number 10. Now here's head coach Kalani Sitake after BYU picks up win number 11 and qualifies for the Big 12 title game. They will play Texas Tech. Here's Kalani.
Happy with the win, and obviously didn't start out the right way, and I give credit to UCF. I think they did some really cool things and probably put our defense a little bit on our heels. It's good for us, and I mean that just shows how smart Scott is as a coach and offensive mind. He was able to put us in some compromising positions with our coverages, and so it's good that we saw that because we got to fix it for next time. But hats off to them. After that 14-0 start, I think we went on to control it 41-7. So that nice response by the team, and we made some really cool things happen. I'm happy for the seniors more than anything that we were able to get the win for them, but had some really cool things happen in this game. Really want to use it as some momentum going into next week, and now that it's here, we can talk about next week and talk about all that stuff. And I'm excited about, the opportunity to play in the playoffs, all that stuff. So play for the conference championship and everything else. And I think we're, the next best thing to be in 12-0 is 11-1. That's what we are, and losing to the fifth-ranked team in the country. We're looking forward to the rematch, and I know Coach McGuire is going to have his guys ready. And we got to make sure that we use all the time between now and the game next week and get our guys ready to play that game. But we're really excited about the opportunity and to be in this position. And so looking forward to the matchup. But in this game, proud of all the guys and the leadership that we have in our, on our team. Even though we had some adversity, the guys didn't lose faith. They just rallied around it and didn't panic. And I like the response. And then, the rest is the rest is what we said, 41-7. And so I'd like to see us start faster next time. But again, UCF, we've been in that position before where you're trying to win your sixth game and extend the season, get bowl eligible. We were in that position a few years ago. So I think we started fast against Oklahoma State, and they had to rally and beat us in the double overtime game. And so, I know that there's a lot of guys there that their season's done, and so there's a lot of respect to them and their coaches, and they'll be back. I mean, it's been a lot of fun playing in this conference, and so those matchups are never easy. And so well-coached teams, tough teams, and I think that's going to prepare us. Everything's going to prepare us for this matchup that we have next weekend. So. What questions do you guys have for me?
Kalani, the last time that you guys played for a conference championship game here was when you were a fullback here. What was that experience like, and what can you draw on from that experience to kind of help prepare your guys the right way on Saturday?
Oh, you're testing my memory now and how you're talking about when I played, there wasn't any it wasn't even HD, so I don't think you want to look at the film. But no, it was great moments. It's another game, but it's a game that everything's counting on it. The winner wins the conference, and so we fought hard, and I talked to the team earlier this year, and we set a goal, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but we said we want to be 12-0, and everybody in that room believed we can get it done. And so we said that from the beginning, and we reminded ourselves in August that that's what we wanted to get done. And then we started working on it in January, though. So I appreciate all the hard work from all the seniors and the upperclassmen and the coaches. I mean, I just got to give a lot of credit to the coaches and what they've been able to accomplish. Won a lot of games in the last couple of years, and played some really tough teams. And so they should be really proud of what they've been able to accomplish. Now that we're here, last year we were kind of, feeling sad that we weren't in the championship game, man, and because it came down to a tiebreaker and all that stuff, and so it just felt good to try to, just have this game and make sure that we lock it up. And now that we can get back on the redemption trail, trying to get back that game that we didn't do so well in Lubbock, and now it's a neutral site. If you're still in Texas, but it's a neutral site. I think our fans will show up, and it'll be a lot of fun, and have a lot of respect for Texas Tech and their fans and their players and the coaches. So it'll be a great matchup, and looking forward to the game. But I think you already know that they're a quality team that belongs in the playoff, and I told you I wouldn't campaign about it, but I don't know what the other teams are about, because I don't know enough about what they've been able to do. But I feel good about our resume and what we can accomplish. But if we win the game next weekend, then there's no doubt that we belong in the playoffs.
With Chase, how important was it for Parker to have the game that he did, and Carson Ryan coming up with some big catches as well?
Yeah, and Chase will be back next week. I think we made the right decision, hold him out and be smart with his injury, and I think he felt good about the other guys picking up the slack, with Cody Hagan and with Tiger and the rest of the guys, and JoJo had a good game. And then you mentioned Carson Ryan's been a great receiver for us all season long. And so I just like the way the guys have all bought into what we ask them to do. I mean, whether it's run block or run routes, and they've done everything we asked them to, and they don't complain about it. And the stats come their way. And these guys, I really appreciate them rallying around our true freshman quarterback. And he made some true freshman mistakes, but I think he's pretty accurate. And there's a couple times, it's kind of hard when you want to tell him, correct him, but he already knows. So it's no fun when you're like, hey, you got to, I know, throw the ball away. It's like, all right. And I tell him, but you gotta have fun too. You know what I mean? So he's a great. He's just ultimate professional. The guy wants to work hard, and he's always learning. He's always on the tablet when he's not on the field, and so it's been so fun to see him grow throughout the season and in his true freshman year. But it's also been fun seeing everybody rally around him.
Kalani, do you feel like the fact you clinched last night may have led to some complacency early on in this game?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how that feels because we all kind of figured that, once that was set, I think everybody said the championship game is set. We're all human, so, and we've never been in this position before. And I think last year going into the week, we're like, hey, just handle what we can handle, win the game, and we're in. And then everyone's telling us, well, you guys are in, congratulations, and you're seeing everybody post stuff about it. It's like, man. I don't know if that was the complacency. I don't think it was complacency. We made mistakes, but Scott put us in some difficult positions, and you can't just think you're going to score every possession on offense. And we missed the field goal, which is not Will, but I'm glad that we made a field goal and we made a couple field goals for him, and so I feel good about 50-yarder that he made. And so there's a lot that goes into it, and you'll never see Will complain about anything else but his kick. But there's a snap in the hole that goes into it too. So all those things we'll try to fix. But I don't know if I can say that it was complacency or if it was what UCF did. Maybe a combination of both. I know that we were sloppy at the beginning, and that's my job as a coach, make sure that we don't show like that. But I don't know if it was the human part of it, like, hey, we're in the championship type deal. Maybe it does. I can't sit there and say that it didn't, but we're all human.
Any chance that LJ could come back for next season? And what advice do you give to players who are kind of in that camp of whether they need to come back or maybe try out the NFL draft?
Yeah, we're going to do what's best for them, and what's best for them is to make sure that we give them a farewell than rather than not get it covered. Chase had the same thing last year. I think Maury did it too, so we just want to make sure that just cover it and make sure that we took care of them. They had a farewell and had a senior game, and then, and I think Chase didn't feel like he had to really do much today because he already got one. But yeah, I think we usually give out blankets, senior blankets or whatever. Yeah, just another chance to get 2 blankets for the guys, I guess. But yeah, with LJ, Keanu, Glasgow, all those guys, we want them to look at where they're going to be at the draft and then figure things out, talk to their family. But I'm always going to want what's best for them.
Coach, last night, Coach Sarkisian, after their win, said it would be a disservice to college football to leave Texas out. And not for you to comment on Texas, but why should BYU be considered over teams like those other bubble teams for a spot in the playoffs?
I don't know if it's maybe it needs to get more teams. I have no idea. And the difficulty is that there's teams that are going to be playing in a championship game and others that aren't. Maybe everyone should play a game. Maybe everybody should match up, and those that are. It would have been nice for us last year to play in a game, and even though Iowa State and Arizona State were playing the championship game, I don't think we're against that. So I don't have all the answers, and I can't really speak on the other teams. But there's a lot of really good football teams out there in all the conferences. And so I do like the system that is now because it allows more to play in it rather than when it was, a computer telling us the final 2. And so we're in a much better spot now, but maybe it should expand more. And I don't know if we'll ever get to what basketball is doing, but there's some really cool things that I think, all the smart people like all of you guys will figure it out. And there's playing games and all that stuff in basketball. Let's look at everybody that does tournaments and see what we can do. I have no idea, but there's great teams all over the place. Sark's a friend of mine, so I know what he's capable of doing as a coach. I can only speak for my team and what we can do. And there's a lot of teams that deserve to play in it, and I think we're one of them.
Last question. Your good friend, Kyle Whittingham, there's a chance, we haven't decided anything yet here, he hasn't, that he's coached his last game. Can you just describe what he's meant to you personally and professionally over the years?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. I mean, you know how much I love Kyle Whittingham and his family, and wouldn't be here if it weren't for him. And so, you know, he's always been a friend, and that's always going to be there. I don't know. I know that, you know, Morgan Scalley's a friend of mine too, so I can't really speak on what they have going on there, but they've had a great year, you know, and they're playing some great football, and, you know, but I don't know what he wants to do. I mean, he's much better at golf now, and I know he's always going to ski, and he's got a couple Harleys that he likes to ride around, but I just can't imagine him not being around football. You know what I mean? So I know that he'll, if he decides that it's time for him to hang it up and you know, hang his whistle up, I know that he's going to do something with football. He just can't help it. But there's people like myself and a lot of guys on our coaching staff that would not be where we're at if it weren't for him. And he's done some amazing things for the you know, for football in this state. I mean, he played for BYU and with his playing days deserves to be in the Hall of Fame and probably one of the few guys that can be in the Hall of Fame at both schools. And if there's anyone that deserves it, it's him.
All right, there's Kalani after the game. Now, about the Kalani job rumors, the interest from Penn State. Well, we'll get to that coming up. What is trending is next. Stay with us.
7.5 KCNS FM Colbert, 1280 KCNS AM Salt Lake City, and 102.7 KSL FM HD2 Salt Lake City Midvale. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know. News update. This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
Allen in the shotgun here with Ty Johnson to his right on 3rd and goal from the 8. Here's the snap. Allen going to keep it. Going to look to bust it outside. Lowers the shoulder. The surge pushing him forward. Progress. He's in for the touchdown. The beast has been released as he goes 8 yards for a touchdown.
And there's the pitch to Vidal. He's got to get to the corner, and he does. There he goes into plus territory. Vidal on his horse. 30, 20, 10. Kimani Vidal, touchdown Chargers. 59 yards. And the energy is back in the building.
This is 3rd down and goal from the 8-yard line. Niners of 8 of 13 on 3rd down. Shotgun snap, Purdy looks left, throws left, and a head-high catch made at the V in Cleveland by Jawan Jennings for a 49ers touchdown.
Hand off to Charbonnet on the left side. 2 tight ends were lined up there. He breaks a tackle. 10, 5, touchdown! Seahawks! And so the Seahawks, a 17-yard touchdown, make it 25-zip.
Denver with the blitz on the way. Ball deflected by Nick Bonito, and the Broncos win it. Great play by Nick Bonito. He came untouched. And the Broncos in overtime have beaten the Commanders 27-26.
Broncos with the OT win. That is 9 in a row. Yeah, trust him, PK. We haven't seen him in big games before, but hey, you got to win the first time. You get that first opportunity, I suppose, and they haven't had it yet. But 9 straight wins, turn your head, or, man, struggling with the Commanders.
I don't count the struggling as if that matters. That's
don't
style
have to blow
points.
people
Style
out.
points
No
don't
style
matter
points.
in the NFL. Struggling with the Commanders. Marcus Mariota is an NFL player. He's been one for many years. They had it going on. They were at home and all that. And finally, Benito said finito.
There it is. It's all over. The Rams had been flying. They had a great winning streak going, but they go to Carolina and get beat 31-28. So the Rams drop to 9-3 on the year. Niners still in the division race. Seattle right there with the Rams. Seattle took advantage of a Minnesota team starting a rookie quarterback, completely overmatched. They get the shutout. They win 26-0. And you heard the 49er highlights in there. They beat the Browns, who are also overmatched, 26-8. Shedur's going to get another start. This becomes a week-by-week story. The Colts, who had been flying, like the Rams take an L, Colts have actually lost back-to-back games in 3 of their last 4. They fall to Houston 20-16, their division lead down to 1 game over Houston. And Jacksonville is right there as well. Jags blew out the Titans. The Colts and Jaguars are tied at 8-4, and Houston's 7-5. A lot of teams at 8-4 right now.
They are.
Justin Herbert, broken hand, going to have a little medical procedure, and he says he's not going to miss any games. So, not his throwing hand. He'll be right back to it next week. Monday Night Football tonight. Does this one do much for you? It's the 2-10 Giants at the 10-2 Patriots. Looks lopsided on the surface. We'll see how it plays out.
Well, Jackson Dart has been cleared, and I'm interested. Yeah, it actually does a lot for me. I like to see him play.
Patriots favored by 7 in that one tonight, 6:15 on ESPN. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah.
Utah empties it out. RPO. Buchanan wide open across the middle. J.J. Buchanan with a 58-yard touchdown. Leshaun Williams in the game. Daniels, quick run, picked off. Pickett wasn't looking. Elijah Davis across midfield. He's got blockers. Davis cuts it across the length of the field for a pick six. Parker comes in motion. Dampier looks to throw. He's got a man wide open. Caught by Simmons. Touchdown. Utah went for the haymaker.
The Utes get win number 10. They beat the Kansas Jayhawks 31-21. Now, they threw it more than they ran it in this game. 253 yards passing, 161 rushing. Not what I would have guessed, but after a slow start, they get it done.
Well, plus when you combine all the passing yards that they gained on defense with their interceptions.
Yeah, right?
Jeez, what a turnover machine Daniels was.
Giving the ball away. Now the Utes wait, see what their bowl assignment is. They had a path there, PK. A month ago we were talking about the path, but the path never opened up. Teams in front of them didn't lose, so looks like they're stuck on the outside looking in as far as the playoff. Wait for the bowl assignment, although it sounds like Vegas.
It does?
Yes, it does.
Okay. I haven't been paying attention to their bowl destination. I don't know, it doesn't matter to me.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah State.
Utah State had a double-digit lead on Boise State, but they couldn't convert on some fourth downs, gave the Broncos field position, and Boise State capitalized, and they come back and win 25-24. Aggies 6-6. Their only home loss of the year comes on Senior Day.
That's a bad loss. We could spin it, but man, some of the
decisions. They had it, and they let it slip away.
I just don't
Going for it on fourth down in your own end, punt them, make them go 70, 80 yards. But they didn't, and then they didn't convert.
Yeah.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag BYU.
LJ drives middle again. It's a pile pusher, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown. Where's the signal? We're waiting for it. We're waiting for it. He's in the end zone with the ball, and there it is. Touchdown, BYU. Parker Kingston awaits at the BYU 45-yard line. It's a knuckler. Parker's got room, makes the catch at the 45. He's got the midfield. Parker the 45, Parker the 40, Parker through tackles, 40 to 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. He's gone! It's a house call for Parker Kingston. Bear will set to throw, and he throws complete. It's Kingston, the 30, the 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Parker Kingston.
BYU down 14-0 after one quarter. Rallies and ends up blowing out UCF 41-21. LJ Martin, 95 yards and 3 touchdowns in the win. Kind of a foregone conclusion there. I guess your heads were turned a little bit maybe in the first quarter, but there was plenty of time to come back, and they did. Had to lead by halftime.
Yeah, I thought Bear was awesome, man. So efficient, so effective.
and now they get Texas Tech. Can they avenge the one loss they've had this year? 10 a.m. Saturday, Jarrah World in Dallas. Plenty of time to get to that. And Kalani Sitake. Is Penn State going to get him? Is he going to lead? Is it just leverage? Is he going to stay? What's going to happen? What is next? Welcome to the coaching carousel.
Well, we seem to want to worry about being on time on this segment. Do we want to talk about it?
We can hold on to it till the next one if you want.
Okay. No, I don't think what's trending to me should always be what the top stories are, not as many stories as you can cram in. So to me, I think it's the story of the day. And there's a likely possibility for sure.
DJ PK.
Hashtag college football.
Lane Kiffin goes to LSU, says he wanted to keep coaching at Ole Miss, but he's taking some assistant coaches with him. Inevitably, he'll probably take some players with him too. And so the athletic director said, no, you're not coaching, you're out. So he's gone as Ole Miss gears up for the playoff. They will miss out on the SEC title game. That'll be Alabama and Georgia.
Well, I don't see how he could have continued in today's world with the transfers and coaches. I mean, you need to be recruiting all the time. December, arguably, is the most important month of the season in terms of building your roster.
Setting it up for next year.
Yeah. I mean, the job literally never ends. The season ends.
But the job keeps going.
Over, but it just... Yeah, guys will be back at it today, this morning, probably pretty much across the country, wherever they are, no matter the time difference. They're in their offices as we speak because you've got to gear up for the next season, and the next roster build happens immediately. I mean, signing day is this week, and then you got the transfer thing opening up in a month, and guys are already they can announce they're in the transfer portal at any point. So that means you've got to do their homework on those kids immediately. It's not like they wait till January 2nd. Oh, I'm going to be in the portal. No, it's not the way it works. And so under the circumstances, I don't think Ole Miss had any choice but to do what they did.
Florida hires Tulane coach John Summerall, who might be in the college football playoff as well. They're going to have to win their conference tournament or the conference title game. But assuming Tulane can pull that off, then that could be 2 of the 12 teams with a head coach who's moving on. Lame duck or already gone.
Lame duck? Is that what you said?
I said lame, but I get the play on words, yes.
Yeah, and you have these conference coaching openings in the American. It reminds me of, was it the end of the WAC? When it was Sonny Dykes and McIntyre and Gary Anderson, they all moved up.
Yeah, you're right. The last year of the WAC. Yeah. And there were 3 teams that dominated the league, and they all 3 got new jobs.
Yeah. And now all 3 are long gone on those jobs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but it's Tulane and North Texas, and the North Texas coach is going to Oklahoma State, and the Tulane coach is going to Florida. But Friday night, 6 o'clock on ABC. You got a conference championship football game with those 2 teams, and the winner gets into the playoff. But first things first, got to take care of the contract. Arkansas hired Memphis coach Ryan Silverfield. That's another one of the American moves that PK was referencing there. Yeah. Michigan State fired former Oregon State coach Jonathan Smith. Kentucky's fired Mark Stoops. Both are owed more than $30 million. Michigan State reportedly intent on hiring former Northwestern coach Pat Fitzgerald as their new head coach. So,
well, that won't have any domino effect, maybe in the assistant ranks, but on the head coaching, because obviously he does not have a head coaching job as we speak, although he did get one. He was not coaching from another institution. And that leads you to a little bit of the Penn State idea. And if you just have some logic there, well, all these other schools are hiring coaches now. Well, that would lead you to believe Penn State's new man is working at another job as we speak.
Because if not, he'd already be on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, connect the dots.
I mean, not necessarily because Daboll's out there, but they clearly have heavy interest in guy who still has a game.
Yep.
And you know who still has a game.
There it is. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah Jazz.
Jazz are blown out 129-101 by the Houston Rockets. If you're going to play like that, you might as well play like that head-to-head with the NFL and hope not as many people notice. They'll play again tonight. Same two teams, 7 o'clock at the Delta Center.
Yeah, I checked out.
Yeah.
They checked out. I thought, this is great.
Yeah.
I don't really want to watch this slop.
I don't blame you. It was brutal.
Yeah.
And we'll see how they bounce back tonight against the Rockets.
I don't even know what the excuse du jour was as to, what was it, the first game back from a road trip or all these excuses that we come up with. I have no idea what the excuse was, why they sucked, but they sucked, and fine, you're going to suck. No sense in me paying attention, and I moved on to the NFL.
DJ and PK.
#NBA.
Will anything slow Oklahoma City down? Hartenstein's out. 10 to 14 days. Calf injury. How many guys can they lose, PK?
Well, they got Williams back, though. And, I mean, he's not a big man. Cody's older brother, but he's an emerging player. So they made that trade, and away they go.
Thunder beat the Blazers 123-115. Oklahoma City, 20 wins, 1 loss. A fantastic start right out of the gate for them. Celtics beat the Cavs. That was mildly surprising, I suppose. Boston staying over 500 with a 117-115 win. DJ and PK.
#college basketball.
BYU wins the ESPN Events Invitational title 83-79 over the Dayton Flyers Friday. Cougars improved to 6-1 with a couple wins over the holidays. Surprised Utah beat Ole Miss. Beat a team from the SEC, and the SEC was awesome last year. We'll see how awesome they are
nice
this
win
year.
for them. I mean, any win's a nice win for them. So I guess to an extent, sure. Was it 1 point they got?
Yeah. 2 free throws, 4 seconds left to win the game as it went back and forth down the stretch.
It was late. I went to bed. I'm not going to pretend I stayed up and watched it.
Utah State, overtime, they beat Montana State 84-81 in Logan.
What
Saturday
dog is
afternoon.
next on their schedule?
That is a good question. I do not know.
I think they're headed out to USF on Thursday and Charlotte Sunday. It's a 2-game road trip on the East Coast.
DJ and PK.
#Major League Baseball.
Dylan C., 7 years, $210 million. The Toronto Blue Jays sign him up, taking one of the top free agent arms off the table. He's made at least 32 starts in 5 seasons in a row. In an era when a lot of pitchers seem to be having arm problems and surgery and getting shut down, he's been an Iron Man. 32 starts.
Well, I mean, he doesn't
Full-time.
cease to exist.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. Orioles sign all-star free agent closer Ryan Helsley to a 2-year, $28 million deal. DJ PK.
#NHL.
Whew. Yeah, first off, teammates, coaching staff, management has been unbelievable towards me, my family. Big thanks to the Blues for everything they did tonight. They didn't have to do that. Yeah, lots of memories at this rink. Growing up, coming to games here.
That is Clayton Keller. His dad passed away unexpectedly in his sleep last week. He grew up in the St. Louis area, hence the reference to having a lot of memories at that rink. The Blues shut out the Mammoth 1-0, and the Mammoth have now lost 3 in a row, all 1-goal games.
Boy, you really lowered your voice on that one.
Yeah, there it is. You know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a tragedy for the young man to lose his father like that. I'd imagine he's not very old because Clayton Keller's not very old. So, I mean, I don't know how old he was. I would imagine in his 50s, and that's a shocker right there.
Yeah.
That changes your life.
Big time. Mammoth road trip continues tonight in San Jose. Sharks and Mammoth. The puck drops at 8 o'clock. Pregame starts at 7 o'clock. That'll be on 1280 The Zone, while the Jazz are playing on 97.5 The Zone.
I don't know you ever get over it. You learn how to deal with it when a parent dies.
Yeah.
And you have to go on. And some people really get robbed. in terms of, like my wife, her father was in his 50s. My parents were fortunate enough to make both to their 80s, so I was a little older, and maybe that helps you appreciate, I don't know if appreciate's the right word, deal with it a little easier, as opposed to, man, because some of them just, you don't even realize it, and then boom, they're gone. You hear about that. But when you're in your 20s, do you really think about that? Is that something you comprehend?
No.
Maybe you get in your 40s and your 50s, and you see the literal changes in them. I guess maybe it was just me, but it was easier to deal with, as opposed to, since they both were in their 80s, as opposed to my father-in-law in his 50s and my wife in her 20s. It just, and man, that is no time whatsoever that you have a parent on the earth at the same time that you're on the earth, and that you can understand them. Because when you're 7 and 8, 9 years old, whatever, obviously if you're 25, you have a different relationship than when you're 8 or 9.
You're going to see life differently.
You don't really have it's not really a relationship. You don't get the relationship until you get older, and then they can be gone. It's just crazy.
What is Trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. DJ and PK, more on Kalani coming up next. The question of the day, will he or won't he? Stay with us right here on The Zone.
Whirls around and down. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone is your exclusive home of the Utah Jazz. And we want to send you to the Delta Center to see the Jazz in action. Listen every Tuesday for the Jazz Ticket Tuesday Sounder at 30 past the hour, every hour, all day long. And if you're caller number 12, you'll be on your way to an upcoming game.
Buy one, you'll get one free.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, every Tuesday throughout the NBA season on your radio home for the Utah Jazz. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Experience holiday lights at the ballpark at America First Square. Dazzling displays, music, family fun, and it runs now through January 3rd. Get your tickets at the ballpark at afs.com. Question of the morning. Will he or won't he? Should he or shouldn't he? Oddsmakers list Kalani Sitake at third for the Penn State job at 15%, behind Lincoln Riley, 21%. Brian Dable, 16%. Other oddsmakers site list him as the favorite. Number one, top choice. Would he take it if offered? Paul doubts it, given what he's accomplished with rebuilding, maintaining the football program. I'd like to hear the pros and cons. I'm confident that BYU is his choice.
Well, that's because you're a BYU fan. And, I mean, go back to the Utes were convinced Urban Meyer loved it here, and he was going to build his life in Salt Lake City. Now I realize Kalani has far deeper ties than Urban, I'll see you later, Meyer ever had. He was out the door the second he went through the door, effectively, and that's exactly what happened. And clearly Kalani Sitake is in a different situation here, having grown up here, and the church affiliation and his BYU fandom and the success that he's had and is having and all that. I mean,
there's the pros, now the cons.
Well, I think that the money always talks. It always has the loudest voice in the room, and you can look at it and say, well, not in this case. Bull crap, man. People keep telling you that because they want you to believe it, not because it's true. And do you want to compete at the highest level? Is BYU committed? I mean, they sure love the basketball coaches every turn possible. And, I wrote about that few years back, caught all sorts of heat, but that bugged them. And it's the same thing here. And KY is the flavor of the day, and they just really enjoy all that stuff, and so the commitment it's there, and it's better than it has been, but is it at Penn State's level? I would say no.
Get it to the highest level.
Yeah. Now, can they get there? Maybe.
And even if you do get the commitment there with the money, as far as competing at the highest level, it's clear that there's advantages based on the brand name power of your school and the brand name power of your conference.
But what is competing at the highest level?
Winning a national championship. If you're going to take the Penn State job, as a coach, you better be ready to win a national championship because they don't want anything else at Penn State.
Okay, but that just involves all sorts of undue pressure that nobody wants. So I think that's a negative, not a positive for Kalani. I mean, you can be king here and there. If you get to the semifinals or quarterfinals and lose, they'll throw you out. That's not. I goes back to what somebody told me in basketball, that Idaho State was a great job because the guy had been there 11 years or 8 years or I forget what it was. And
he'd been there a long time and he hadn't gotten fired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because their expectations are different. Their resources were different. Their expectations were different.
Right. And I can recall, and it's a name everyone in this town would know for many, many years. And I think, Idaho, what are you talking about? And then he explained, well, let me explain. Yeah. And he explained it.
But I think that's a coach-to-coach decision. I mean, that coach explains it to you, and that's just as valid. But on the other hand, Lane Kiffin just volunteered for the cauldron that is LSU. He could have stayed at Ole Miss and made a ton of money and been the hero, and he went to a place that is also thinking championship or bust.
Well, yeah, sure. Someone's going to take that job. Right. There was always going to be somebody who would take that job, so you'd always have, on the other hand, that job was not going to go unfulfilled. So, yeah. But that doesn't reduce the amount of grief that you take if you don't win. And if you get fired in a few years, that someone was going to take the job. That's a given. So you'd always have an example there. I still think it's a different type of expectation. Now, whatever you want to accomplish at Penn State, I believe you could do at BYU too.
I hadn't really thought of BYU as the school where you were going to win the championship. Maybe you can argue Penn State's not going to win a championship either just because they want to.
Why can't BYU win it?
I just think you're handicapped in the Big 12. I mean, I think the perception is it's a harder road, it's a longer road, and people are going to go other places first.
Yeah, I'm not sure Texas Tech thinks that.
Yeah. I was going to say Texas Tech has got no illusions that they can't win it.
So... I don't know that it's any harder than Penn State's.
That goes back to commitment then, because the checks Texas Tech wrote before the rules changed are checks that other Big 12 schools could have written before the rules changed, but they didn't.
Right.
So that goes back to the financial commitment is good, but is the financial commitment great? Well, not as great as it is at Texas Tech, apparently.
Yeah, but if that's your situation, then you're constantly going to be measuring yourself against Ohio State.
Oh, yeah. If you go to Penn State, that's it. Yeah, you're going to get
So if you want the highest you can get, you're always going to be chasing it.
Yes. You'll be chasing at Penn State. You'll be chasing at Ohio State.
It'll be nothing but your tail the rest of your life.
Ohio State and maybe Michigan. Right.
But I think BYU fans need to put the sentimentality away for a bit here. And you're looking at it with your heart, and I would too. I understand that. When he keeps saying, I was a fan here, I grew up here, blah, 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 this means more. They all say that. I saw a thing, Jim Moore and his wife, go Rams! Until 2 weeks ago, he had no idea or ever interest in want to coach at Colorado State.
I never had a thought of associating Mora and CSU.
And now there is his wife.
Fort Collins?
Yeah, his wife and him when they land on the private jet. They get off, and then they talk, oh, Rams, go Rams! And the reason why their kids aren't face painted with the Rams is because they're older. And we're not doing that. We're adults. When Dan Mullen arrives in Vegas, his kids are younger, and they all got the UNLV. Go Rebs! And go Paycheck!
If you're 8, that's great. If you're 28, it's pretty weird.
Yeah. So, I mean, they all sell you that. They don't sell you that any different.
And the coaches, the school turn around and fire the coaches, too. All the enthusiasm.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to dump on Kiffin, and Pat Hayden needed to fire him at the L.A. airport. He couldn't have waited until he got home in Manhattan Beach. It's very close to Manhattan Beach. It's not more than 5 minutes away. 10-minute stops.
Don't even have to get on the freeway. Right down surface streets.
Sepulveda is right there.
On the tarmac.
Or Arviation and Sepulveda, the two streets that go north and south right into LAX. It's minutes away. And they had to do it right then and there, so he had to find his own transportation home. What the hell is that? He couldn't have waited until the next morning?
Nope. Had to be tarmacked.
Yeah. I mean, that's a joke.
Which is now an expression, apparently.
So
Getting
with that in
tarmacked.
mind, Lane Kiffin, he did them wrong. I get it, yeah. You can go with what Nick Saban said, that it's the system, and sure, to an extent it is, and blah, blah, blah. So here we go, and BYU's right in the situation now with Sitake in this. I heard about it last week, and I just didn't think that Thanksgiving was a great week to discuss it. We were off the air basically for 2 days. We taped out Friday, and but then over the weekend, it starts to gain steam, and it's always funny for me because people that I can hit up once they go quiet.
Mm-hmm. That tells you.
Yeah.
Because if they were in the mood to chat, they'd just be chatting with you about whatever random stuff you text them about.
Right.
And if they don't have time to chat, then clearly something serious is going on.
Yeah. And 10 years ago, during this time, when it was clear because of the religious connection that has to be there, that Kalani was the leading candidate, the overwhelming candidate to get the job because they'd gone outside essentially twice, and here you had somebody who was one of their own, and it was independent, so it wasn't like it was it's not the caliber of job that it is today that it was then. The caliber has improved substantially, and so it was clear it was going to be him, and everybody and their dog is contacting him, and then over the holidays, he calls me and says, "Hey, I just want to apologize. I saw your calls, but I couldn't get back to you, blah, blah, blah." I said, I know. I said, I had to do it, but I know full well you had to go quiet because they didn't want you talking to anybody.
And you can't irritate them then.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it's right down into, the process. And so I said, believe me, at that point, I only had 30 years experience in the business, not 40. And so, but I said, I appreciate your call, and I wish him nothing but the best. And if he goes out and does this time, same type of deal. And from BYU's perspective, if he leaves, it's a blow, but I don't think it's devastating because I think you got your successor standing right there 2 feet away in Jay Hill.
That decision shouldn't take long.
No. And I can argue easily, very much easily, that Jay Hill is the most accomplished coach, if he ends up being the head coach, that they've ever hired.
Well, they've hired so many people who haven't been head coaches before. The fact that he had the job.
The only one is Croton.
And then won so much.
And that blew up. And Weber State, he took them to unprecedented levels, and then he left, and Weber State just fired their coach last month. So they went right back to where they were. So
it was Jay. It wasn't the institution.
Plus, Jay has gotten how many transfers he's gotten from Weber that have been not really good, but stars.
The only surprise there, because at the end he would tell anybody at Weber who would listen, is that we are recruiting Mountain West Conference caliber players.
Oh, I'd say higher.
Well, that's what he said at the time. He said we are going to be good because we're recruiting this, and clearly, to your point. I mean, Kelly's a very good Big 12 player. He's an impact player in the Big 12.
Yeah, he's the latest in a line of several. So with that over there, that makes me think that BYU is going to just say, okay, we're going to go to a limit, and if Penn State is going to raise it, we'll see you.
They will finally draw a line, and then Kalani will have to decide what he really wants.
Right.
Penn State at that price or BYU at that price.
And think about it. You and I were there 10 years ago. It was a Friday night, and it was a big surprise that Bronco took Virginia's job, and they had a press conference. It was the first Friday in December. I remember it vividly. And you picked me up, and we went down there to cover that press conference on a Friday night, like at 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
And Tom and Bronco were sitting there talking, and Tom said, we can't match it. And how quaint was it that they couldn't match $3 to $3.5 million.
Quaint.
Yeah.
Very quaint.
That's coordinator money these days.
I was about to say.
That's a joke.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit of an exaggeration by you on coordinator money.
Penn State's DC made 3.1 last year.
Yeah.
Yes, Penn State's DC.
But
it's coordinator money for them. You're right.
Yeah.
We're talking about Penn State. Just there you
doubling down. Yeah, right. It does illustrate how all in Penn State is.
Right.
That they'll go to $3 million.
And BYU is in a much better position. The job is much better these days. There's no question about it. Because of the financial investment, they're not independent, a number of things. Guys can have hair sticking 2 feet out of their helmets. Talk to the other BYU coaches that are no longer there. And to me, earrings in the hair, I couldn't care less. But to them, it mattered because they couldn't recruit to that. And I had a coach tell me a major player 20 minutes before kickoff had a leader came in and said, you got to go tell him he's got to shave. 20 minutes before kickoff. And I don't want to give up names, but believe me, you'd all know the name. and that's what they had to deal with. And a coach tell me, PK, why can't I just grow my mustache just down, just to the corners of my mouth? Why does it have to be above the lip?
I don't know.
And I said,
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I said, I don't know.
Ask somebody else.
It makes no sense. Well, now it's no big deal. And that shouldn't matter, and who cares about it anyway? But for these kids, it matters. 'Cause I always laugh that every time they had a pro day and they'd have it at the indoor facility, virtually every BYU kid would have a beard. And when Taysom Hill's having a beard, you know something is up. He was the poster child for what an LDS kid is supposed to be about. And he grew a beard. But yet he couldn't as a player just 3 months earlier. Well, now, blah, blah, blah. And the point is the rules have been loose, and they don't want to necessarily talk about it, but you can literally see it. And the ex-coaches have they've not complained, but they said, boy, we wish we would have had that in our day. Well, now you have that in this day. And so it's easier to recruit to BYU. And the idea of what basketball is telling these kids, hey, we can get you to the pros, so you can't do this and this for a few months, but the benefit that you're going to get out of it is very much worth it. And then you got somebody like DeBonsa buying into it, and away you go. And clearly in football, they've been able to expand. Plus, I also think that the kids today, they are more sophisticated, and they're willing to look at things that, as time has gone by, seem so outrageous when there was, if they recruited a black kid, it was a big deal. Well, now it's not a big deal. It's like, can the kid play? And so they got, kids are more sophisticated and they're willing to accept it, and they're more mature. They can see that's a really good environment for me to be in. Plus, I was thinking about this too for basketball. Doesn't this show for a kid like DeBonsa and Robert Wright as they want to go to the NBA? Doesn't it scream, hey, we're mature. We came to BYU, and yeah, I know the money's there, but the money was going to be there wherever. That we are willing to put aside this stuff that gets in the way. Aren't they showing a commitment?
That, I think, to an NBA GM is a massive deal.
Yeah.
NBA general managers, and you go back and ask them to redraft a draft, 10 years later, how come that happened? And literally they'll tell you, that kid didn't make it because he was too immature.
Right.
A top 5 pick didn't make it because of maturity, not because of quickness, agility, jumping, shooting. It was maturity.
Yeah.
And if you're going to give people a ton of money, and if you're going to bet your career on them, you want them, you're going to acknowledge they're 19. I mean, there's going to be maturity issues. There just are. 19-year-olds just aren't 39-year-olds. They're not, and they're not going to be. But still, in the realm of a 19-year-old, there's more mature and there's less mature. So, yes, I think that's a point big time. Professionally. Oh, yeah, are you interested in coming here? Yeah. How far are you to Vegas? Click. That happened. Don't want any part of that. If that's your motivation, I'm not betting my career on that. That question told me everything I need to know. Next.
Yeah.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Do you think, how long a memory does Kalani have? Because I think there's something back there that absolutely influences this, or could influence this. We'll get to that next. Stay with us. The artist of the day, 21 Pilots, frontman Tyler Joseph, celebrating his 36th birthday. It's brought to you by Live Nation. For all the live concerts events in 2025, check out livenation.com.
Before, and that was an excellent tease, and I want to hear what you have to say. Do you think Kyle watched college football spread eagle?
No.
He said that.
I know he did.
Well, he also threatened clothed or no clothed either.
Right, and I let him know on Saturday that I was spread eagle watching college football while nude.
Did that get a reaction?
Yeah,
Yes.
what was the response?
I'll keep it between ourselves. Oh, that was fun. Guys, he's a funny guy. People don't realize it. I mean, he is really funny. I enjoy his sense of humor. But go ahead, because what you had to say, I'm anxious to hear it.
I believe you're eager. Well, you hear the whole thing about, Kalani will flirt with him, and it's leverage.
Sure.
You know, he loves it at BYU.
I think he does.
Okay,
True.
that could all be true.
It is.
Now, if it were me, I don't know. But if it were me, I don't know if I would have completely forgotten having a 5-7 campaign when a quarterback got hurt and having my job threatened. Now, I realize there might be some BYU administrators who would debate that caricature. I get that. But I know that inside his tight-knit football group, they 100% believe his job was threatened. They 100% believe it was on the line.
That's a fact.
No question. Now, maybe it's just football and you move on, and you're talking to a school that fired their coach half a season after a deep run in the college football playoff. So maybe it's just bygones are bygones and he lets it just roll off his back. Maybe. On the other hand, there might be a part of him going, I'm never going to forget that. 5-7? He's had 2 losing seasons. And the other one was back in 2017. Was there really any reason to threaten that? That's not usually how BYU does business. The coaches seem to be there for a long term.
Ooh.
They were 5-2. Now, they were losing the game to Texas when the injury happened to the quarterback, so I would say they were 5-3. But I get they were 5-2, 5-3. Semantics, we can argue that. They lost the next 4, not because they didn't have a good quarterback. It was because he just wasn't ready yet. Subsequently went on, and, I mean, they've rolled with other stuff, honor code violation, and they got to move on. They got to switch from a senior quarterback to a freshman quarterback. They don't bat an eye. He's done a bunch of cool stuff there. It's 4 double-digit win seasons in 6 years, and it could be 5-6. But again, with a quarterback injury with Jaren Hall, they had a 4-game losing streak when it looked like a pretty promising
So you're
season.
saying they have more patience at BYU than Penn State? Yes.
I'm saying they do, but maybe not by a lot. And I wonder if he's still pissed about 2023 and 2024.
That he almost got fired, or what?
Yeah, he's not feeling that much loyalty. Yeah, you threatened me.
Oh, well,
This is
I think there's
business.
other things, and that all goes into it, yes. I think that he's very much aware of that. And as I wrote on KSL.com, and we're allowed to say that now, that he was miffed that they showed Mark Pope tons of love, constantly show him, and Mark Pope never won a freaking tournament game. And that got, and I wrote about that, and I took all sorts of grief. And where the hell do you think I got it? And so that was there, and they loving up. I'm going to throw something out here that is not necessarily my opinion. The AD's a basketball guy.
Mm-hmm.
They go overboard to love KY.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying they don't do anything or they've done anything or they haven't done anything. I'm just telling you about what I heard. If you want to believe it, great. If you don't want to believe it, I'm going to have my job tomorrow. I don't give a crap.
But this comes down to perception. I know where you're going. On one hand, it's like you said a long time ago, you don't control, you say something or you do something, you don't control how it's perceived.
Right. Administrators
might say, we treat them both great. But
I think they do.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that's how it's received in
Right.
the football offices.
Right.
Perception.
They might might feel like, man, if we got the love/resources they got, we wouldn't be 11-1 right now. 12-0. Everybody knows what an awesome defensive end, outside linebacker, well, Texas Tech has those on both sides. You can't block either one of them. You can't move either one of them. You can't run away from them. And if you had endless amounts of money to go get a defensive player like that and put him on either side of your defensive line, you would. Every coach would after they took care of quarterback. Quarterback's the most important position, and what's the next most important position for disrupting the quarterback?
The booster.
the booster wants to take him to another school. Yeah. The pass rusher.
These are all things that he's considering.
And I just wonder how much emotionally that factors in and how much, coaching years are like dog years, you know? I mean, it's he could be so far past that. And on the other hand, he could be thinking, loyalty? No loyalty.
I think the bottom line for me is I would not be surprised. It would not shock me if he's not the coach at BYU. But I don't know what he's going to do.
Oh, yeah. I have no... How do you know if you don't know what the last offer is? I mean, we saw this 20 years ago when Kyle got hired. When the last offer was from BYU, it was BYU. But then the last offer comes in from Utah, and now it's Utah.
Well, at 8 o'clock, he was going to take the BYU job. I can confidently, and if you knew my source, you'd be impressed with that. And then at 10 and 11 o'clock, it changed.
Right. And the same thing with Kalani, and it could go either way.
Right.
Or both ways. Wouldn't be the first coach to vacillate back and forth. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Join Hans and Scotty from noon to 3, Wednesday. Tim Dolly Nissan, Southtown, at 11155 South Jordan Gateway in South Jordan. Tim Dolly, home of the Forever Warranty. No change for a decade, PK. Kyle and Kalani, Kalani and Kyle. Think we'll get them both the same year? Kind of the way we did 20 years ago when actually 3 jobs opened up at the same time, BYU, Utah, and Utah State?
You're asking me, will Kyle
retire? Yeah.
Oh, boy. I get that all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got it and said, hey, now's not the time to think about it. You need time to decompress. So it's out there.
I went down to St. George over the Thanksgiving holiday, and I got it there.
Yeah.
I went out and golfed. Gorgeous weather.
Better than here.
Yeah.
It was in the low 40s, and I was on 215 with the South Belt Rail kind of turns east there at 6200, and I drove past Old Mill, and there was one guy walking off the back of the number 3 green, and he was walking, not with the pull cart. He had the bag over his shoulders, and it looked like he was by himself. And I didn't see anybody else on the course. I'm going to drive by on the freeway, but yeah, it wasn't really golf weather up here.
No, I was out Saturday in the 60s. And a father-son, BYU employee, Kelly. Hello, Kelly. You said you'd be listening. If you're listening, hello.
Hi, Kelly.
And the son, they asked me, are you retired? No. Tired from what? That would require work. I don't work. I got a job, but this ain't work. And so they're, well, what do you do? I tell them, oh. Are you a producer? No. I'm the star of the show. Wow. We'll have to listen. And so I got that. I don't know if I got it from them, but I got it from other people over the weekend. And they asked me. I told him, I said, I'm getting tired of people asking me this. And, we've talked about it, and he's talked about it publicly, and I think I've come to the conclusion that it's best to just allow him to announce it. I have my feelings on it, but I'm hesitant to say it because then people take it like it's fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. And I think that it's different, but like Kalani, it's just going to come down to what he decides, isn't it?
I see no reason why he doesn't retire.
I do. He doesn't want to.
But that's the ultimate reason.
That
but
is.
I mean, all the
other reasons line up.
That he has mentioned in his life.
I do.
And that I've literally had conversations with him about. I mean, I'm certainly not acting like I'm on the inner circle and I'm sitting at the dinner table discussing this with him. That's not the case. But in casual conversations, talking, you reach a point in life where that you start to think about those things, right? I'm there. And it seems like if he wants to, he should. There's no question about it. If he wants to come back, come back. I think there's people at the U would like to see him step aside, go out on this high note, 10-2, nationally ranked. I would have loved to have seen them get another shot at BYU. I would have loved to see them get another shot at Texas Tech. I would love to see them get a shot at the playoff. I believe they could have a success in there. I think what Kyle Whittingham has done, he's proved it yet again, that this program is not Ohio State's of the world. There's very few that are there. Put them there. But then right below that, Utah, the University of Utah football program is in that category. So being second tier, that's not a negative. That's an overwhelming positive in my mind that I can say that. I wish I could say that about the Sun Devils, but I can't. Maybe in 5 years I will.
I was going to say, not yet, but they might be on their way.
Maybe so.
This
we'll
does
see.
look more promising than your other coaches. You don't.
But he has done that, and I can say that. And they were dominant this year. I mean, they didn't even have to have an A-type game to beat you. I mean,
that wasn't an A game at Kansas.
Yeah, I don't even know they wanted to be there. And it was miserable. No. It's Thanksgiving Day after, blah, blah, blah. But they went out and they got the job done and got out of there with what they were capable of doing. And they're 10-2, and they're really good. So I don't think he needed to restore the program because I don't think the program went away. I said that all during the offseason, that last year. We understand why it happened and how it happened. But it wasn't like it was a pattern. The program was not on a downward trend. And if there was any doubt, he proved it again this year. It is not on a downward trend, not at all. They're a bona fide big-time program. So with all that, he turned 66 a couple weeks back. If he wants to step aside, great. He's got this ambassador deal that makes him close to $1 million, and he'd be good at that. He's great with people, and he can talk to them and find out what they're interested in and meet them at their level. He's an expert at that, and so he would be very good at the job, at the ambassador job, whatever that means. I don't know how clearly that defined is, and maybe he does, but I don't. And so if he wants to do that, do it, and he'll make the announcement in his time. He's got to let him know here by this week or next week, according to the contract. But here's what I will say. That doesn't mean that the university has to let the public know about it. And it could wait until, and you're talking about, I haven't paid a lick of attention on where anybody's going with the bowls. You have, and so you're saying Vegas is a likely possibility, and that's great. I think they play that December 31st, obviously at the Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, against what, an SEC team or Big Ten team? I think it's a Big Ten team.
I think it's Big Ten.
Yeah, right. And so that's at least a decent opponent name-wise anyway, and you can go off in the sunset at that point, and then they would have the announcement, or maybe they announce it now. That's not been his character. He said that as the last week of the season, here today, gone tomorrow. That's exactly what he wants. He wants no fuss, blah, blah, blah. And so I have my ideas of what he's going to do, but I think I'm just going to let him announce it on his time frame. I did that with Lavelle Edwards. I had gotten tipped off. He's not coming back. This is his last season. And I thought, he deserves his opportunity to make this announcement, and he did, and we know what happened there. And I think Kyle Whittingham is of the same stature as Lavelle Edwards. From the Utah perspective, not the BYU perspective, but the Utah perspective, what he's done here, at least he's in the discussion. If he's not even, he's in the discussion. And those types of what you would call legends, let's let them make the announcement rather than some blowhard coming out here and say, hey, he's going to announce his retirement and scoop him.
I get all of that, and I think that trying to scoop him would be dangerous, because it comes down to what does he want. And he's clearly close, or he wouldn't give the answer he gave at the Big 12 Media Day. He doesn't say things, especially on this topic, lightly, but on many, he doesn't doesn't make a lot of rando comments although I guess he just made one, talking about what he's going to be wearing, sitting on the couch or not wearing.
I think anybody who's 66 is close.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, just doing the math, they're close. But he was clearly emotionally, psychologically, mentally thought about it. I couldn't go out like that, referencing, last season. So now he's not. I mean, 10-2 felt completely different than that 5-7 thing.
Yeah, they were really good this year.
Yeah, and the 2 losses are the top 11 teams as we sit here right now. Awesome. And the loss to number 11 had 2 fourth-quarter lead changes in it. So that game went right down to the wire.
Right.
So it's just a question of what he wants to do.
It is a question of what he wants to do. And I think that, the discussion that I'd had with him a few years back is that when he hit 64, he literally told me this is a sobering age because that's the age my father passed. And so your mortality is like right in your face.
Yeah.
And he sees his children having children. And that's extremely important to be able to spend time with them and be present in their activities because Big Fred got robbed of that to a good degree.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen, and that was something that Big Fred wanted to do, as most guys would want to do, right? I mean, that makes sense. And that didn't happen. And now he has the opportunity. The health is there. Certainly the finances are in order. That's no big deal. I get this. I mean, well, what about you? What about you? Yeah, well, what are my finances? How am I going to be able to live? I freaking need the job, for one. But, he doesn't need that. Plus, he's got this other job that's going to pay him what would take me years and years to make.
Yeah.
That he's going to make in one season or 1 year.
He's retiring. He's still going to have a job, and he's still going to be paid handsomely.
Right. But he does have things that he wants to do. And it's a question.
And the funny thing in him, and this is another thing that he's got to consider. Well, it's another thing he could consider. Another thing I expect he probably considers, but I don't know that he would have to consider it, is that in most places, in most jobs, for most people, you would say, well, I'm going to retire. I'm going to spend more time with the family and all the quality of life things that you were just talking about. But the fact is, and you really only need to go to one home game to see this, the fact is his extended family gets a lot of joy out of him still working.
No question.
There's something they will lose when he stops.
Yeah.
And
it's got to end.
It's got to end, right? But it does. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a part of him thinking, yes, I want to spend more time with you, but he's plenty smart enough to turn one way and see everybody there having a great time.
Yeah, but I think they've come to the realization.
It will end.
I had something that a couple of weeks ago. It ended like 18 years for me. It ended, and I'm sad that it ended, but it had to end, and I always wanted to do it. And I think I showed I could do it and be effective at it and be good at it. And it's over now. And Sundays, it's weird for me not to have to go somewhere, not to have to go downtown. But it was going to have to end at some point. And ironically, the dude who always looks at the half empty is taking the idea, the mindset of, man, just be glad that it really happened rather than it's over.
That kid.
Because it had to end.
Wow, this is massive personal growth for you. Seriously. Good work.
And maybe that's something that is, I don't want to say the disappointment. It wasn't like my livelihood depended on it, but it was all sorts of fun.
Yeah.
And I did it for so long, and it became a slice of identity. So I think his family, you're sad, sure. If you love something and it's not there anymore, you're going to be sad. But you have to weigh the positives, the negatives, and it's got to end at some point here. And I think when he announces it, he'll feel really good about it, knowing that he accomplished so much, and away you go.
When he announces it, or when he tells someone to send out a press release and he gets on an airplane and goes somewhere he wants
to the U of U.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think there's going to be any big press conference. He's not going to sit up there and blubber.
So when he talks to Mark Harlan.
Yeah, and then, okay, how do you want to handle this?
Have them send out a release. I'm getting on a plane to somewhere warm.
I know where he's got property.
Yeah.
And
it's warm.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up next, Bronco Mendenhall joins us. That couldn't be what he wanted out of the second half of that game. We'll talk with him about that and the bowl possibilities for Utah State going forward. Bronco Mendenhall coming up next. Stay with us.
Whirls around and down. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone is your exclusive home of the Utah Jazz. And we want to send you to the Delta Center to see the Jazz in action. Listen every Tuesday for the Jazz Ticket Tuesday Sounder at 30 past the hour, every hour, all day long. And if you're caller number 12, you'll be on your way to an upcoming game.
Buy one, you'll get one free.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, every Tuesday throughout the NBA season on your radio home for the Utah Jazz. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Get the best blankets and gifts ever and save 50% this season with promo code ZONE50. Shop online at MickeyCouture.com or visit any of their 6 locations. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up, top of the hour, we're going to talk with Shehan Jeyarajah, CBS Sports National College Football writer. Talk with him about Kalani Sitake. Will he or won't he? What has he heard? What does he know? Penn State taking a lot longer to hire a coach than everybody else. We'll talk with Shehan about that and also about the Big 12 title game coming up Saturday. That's at 9:05 when Shehan joins us. Bronco Mendenhall will join us here momentarily. Tons of football today, PK, which is prevented us from talking about the Utah Jazz, which is probably just fine because that Jazz game was horrendous.
It was, yeah.
They got blown out by Houston. Same 2 teams again tonight. But back to football we go. We are joined now by Bronco Mendenhall, BYU head coach. Excuse me, I knew I'd do that. All year I made it through, and then I do it right here. Utah State football coach, Bronco Mendenhall. Sorry about that, Bronco.
I claim that as well. That was a long part of my career. So
there you go.
Okay.
Old habits die hard. We were talking about this after the BYU-Utah game. Kyle Whittingham went for it on 4th down, and BYU got a couple of big stops and ended up being a 3-point game. And sure enough, Boise State-Utah State is a 1-point game, and Boise State gets a couple of big 4th down stops against you guys. And so the question, I guess, is why turn the ball over on downs twice in the 4th quarter? Once you could have kicked a field goal, once you could have punted it. What was your thinking? Because those were clearly 2 big plays.
Yeah, they were giant plays for sure. 4th and 2 with momentum early in the game. And there's always a pretty simple process. I kind of go off intuition, what I think, check with our offensive coordinators, see what he thinks, and then we go off the statistical book as well that we have. Everyone kind of has the book of analytics, right? And in both cases, that was, encouraged. So kind of triangulated it. And quite frankly, with Bryson Barnes, 4th and 2 and 4th and 6 inches, both seemed really likely to me, and I thought would give us our best chance to win. Doesn't always work out like that.
How much has the role of analytics evolved during your coaching career, which is spanning 30 years now? Because it seems like we get these answers from head coaches almost to the point of universally that they do go with the analytics.
Yeah, I think it's expanded a lot. I'm probably 50%-ish, maybe a little bit less when it comes to the analytics, even though we all track it in-game. Sometimes, again, experience and just the flow of the game doesn't feel like it warrants the analytics. Other times, if there's indecision from a head coach, the analytics are so well established over, large sample sizes that they can be the default pretty easily. And so I think it has to be a mix of both.
Now, I have been told by prominent football coaches that if you think you know more than the people who do the analytics, you're wrong. But the thing I factor in that maybe they don't is that when you went for it early in the 4th quarter, you were up 5 at that point. It's 24-19. You kick a field goal and you go up 8. And John Madden said a long time ago, I don't second guess, I first guess. So I'm sitting there on the sofa watching this thing, and what'll Bronco do? And I'm thinking, he's a defensive coach. If he goes up 8, he knows not only do they need a drive, it can't be a field goal. They got to put it in the end zone. And then even when they do, they got to go for 2, and we got another chance to stop them. So I thought you were going to kick it. Do you factor that in as far as, hey, it's not 7, it's 8, and that gives us an extra chance to stop them before they tie the game?
Oh, sure. All of that's considered along the way, and we stopped them for two two-point plays throughout the course of the game. So there's certainly ways to go back and say, man, anytime, especially if you don't win, or if you don't win by 1 or 2, and there was a chance for a field goal, easy to go right to that one play and that one decision, which I'm responsible for. As we both know, we all know, there's a handful of plays in every game, and those are visible. They're not the only ones. But yeah, for sure, and especially as a defensive coach, I weigh all that.
As far as what you're looking at as your responsibilities now, you'll have a little bit of time before the bowl game, and that'll get announced and all that stuff. What is on your agenda, you personally, to what you're going to be doing in terms of immediacy?
So our roster recruitment and getting ready for early signing date, right, which is this upcoming Wednesday, and then is the portal. So taking care of our current roster, making sure that's in the best shape as possible, right, and then looking at the roster from a high school perspective as well as a portal perspective, and that'll be taking a lot of the time. And then we've had a couple bye weeks, so then updating the analytics that have happened since the last game till now. And then, right, looking at program design moving forward. So based on what game we'll play, we won't know until Sunday, but we'll have a week of time to be targeting those things.
I think everybody wishes it was different, but we've heard from so many coaches now. It doesn't matter if it's football, if it's basketball, whatever, the transfer portal stuff. If it's not a school contacting your players, it's third parties, high school coach, friend of the family, agent, whatever. How many of those decisions do you think you could accurately predict right now? How many of those decisions still have to be made? How much do you know what's going on while it's going on, and how much are you flying blind?
I think there's some idea, but never a complete idea. I don't know what percentage it would be. After the game against Fresno State, or before the game, I was talking with their coach briefly, and he referred to November as the whisper month, where players are whispering. He said it used to just be where you're worried about coaches possibly leaving or being taken by other schools. Now it's your entire organization, and so pretty interesting term that he used. But it's throughout. We're really transparent with our players and vice versa, and I think we have fantastic relationships with them. I think we advise them well. I think they trust me in terms of their futures and their careers to give them sound advice. And so really it's hard to know for sure if there won't be a surprise or two. But I think the communication between our organization and team is really strong. So hopefully not many surprises.
The guy in the Big 12 who was in the Pac-12 at the time, Kenny Dillingham, he had a job for his young guy at ASU, and after the season ended, his first year in which they won 3 games and obviously were overmatched, he was rebuilding the program. They asked him, what is he going to do right now? What's on his agenda come Monday morning after the season ended on a Saturday? And he said one word. He said it 3 times. He said fundraise, fundraise, fundraise. How much does that factor into your job as a head coach?
It's more than I ever imagined, and it's become one of the primary responsibilities of the head coach. And, I've probably done more in the last couple of years just since returning to football than I did maybe the entire rest of the time combined. The landscape calls for it, the institutions call for it, and quite frankly, the market calls for it in terms of what the costs are to build the roster. And so there's just a real and bottom line cost to assembling your roster now, and there's no way around it. And so really encouraged by, the beginnings of this program, probably a missed field goal and a non-converted 4th down with 6 inches to go from being in the championship game where there's UNLV and Boise playing, which we played them both just recently. So, right. Margins are thin, right on the verge in year one, and just love my team.
When you have to fundraise, does that mean making calls and asking for money? Does that mean doing presentations to groups? Does that mean going to lunch with boosters and giving them a peek inside the program so they're more invested so they will write the check? What does that look like?
It's more of the second, too. It's a combination at my level of intimate settings and presentations with donors that are sincerely interested in the program have the capacity, and then, quite frankly, they need to be armed with all the not only the philosophical, but the practical, the pragmatic, the direction of the program, the analytics, how it's going to be run, what have the past results been, what could be the return on investment, and then understanding the true costs of a college football team. So really it gets down to just the reality of what it is, how it's going to be done, and from the leader that will be doing it. And those are intimate and private settings in most cases, where the biggest yield, I would say, happens. There are other cases where it's larger groups, right, and you're sharing the vision and capturing hearts and minds and presenting information, which is also necessary and really fun. So it's all necessary, but it's more of the last two from your question.
This is a crazy business, and you know this as well as anybody. And this time of year, especially when you got 50 things coming and going every which way. And we know it as the coaching carousel season, where we see guys leave and come. And you're a veteran guy now, and you've moved frequently to an extent. I'm wondering if somebody has a job and calls you and say, Bronco, you're an older guy, you've been through this. Can you give me some advice on, I've got this good job, but I have this opportunity to pursue another job. What do you think? What would you tell them as far as counsel?
Oh yeah, it's people, not the place. And there's the allure of level, and there's the allure of opportunity and finance, which are very real. And most player movement, as well as coach movement, comes for the exact same reason, and that's increased opportunity or level and finance. And so grown-ups and young people are making the same decision for the same reasons, regardless of what's said. I would caution, and I do give caution, if they love the town they're living in with the people that are there, that they're working with, and man, their wage is more than comfortable. The quality of life and a sense of purpose matters, and I think there's a lot of mistakes that are made just for the sake of finance, as I've seen, witnessed, and just over the years been part of.
It seems like we see a lot of people in the first half of their head coaching career chasing the brass ring, trying to get to the penthouse. But it seems to me like there are a lot of coaches who've ridden the merry-go-round for a while, who are opting for jobs in the Mountain West and the MAC, and staying there a long time and having success. I couldn't even name all the WAC schools. You would be a recent example at Utah State. I think Wyoming and San Diego State over the years have benefited from that. UNLV is maybe benefiting from that right now to a certain degree. Fresno, I think, has benefited from that over time. Is that everything you just said and how it's played out and how it's been playing out in the profession now for 10 or 15 years?
I think it is, and I think it's a pretty astute recognition. And there's a really cool book that I read a few years ago as I was considering my choice at Virginia, and it's called The Second Mountain. And so many times the first mountain of our lives is defined as, right, the resume building and maybe the accolade chasing or the upward mobility. And then for most professionals, not only in the coaching world, then there's a pause in that, or a sense of lack of fulfillment, maybe. And then there's the contemplation of what's the second mountain. And some people do the same thing they were doing professionally, just do it different. Other people have developed a hobby along the way that they're just passionate about. They then try to make into a business for the second part of their life, or they become more philanthropic, or et cetera. That's a pretty typical cycle. And so I think what you're seeing is the guys like myself and others that you mentioned that are back. It's not only did they come back to something they love and had success at, but possibly for reasons even more profound than what they were doing before, to find purpose. And going back to the question just for a second ago that you asked me, the advice I would give, one other thing I always mention is, are they appreciated where they are? Right? Does the administration and, quite frankly, the fans and the community and the alumni, right, are they appreciated where they are? And are folks happy and grateful that you're there? And what does that sense look like? So I always kind of advise that way also.
Well said. You've been in situations where you've turned down jobs while you've had jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all know that. You've spoken about it a little.
Yep.
And obviously, you've had jobs and accepted other jobs, and you've done that multiple times. The level of, I don't know if agonize is the right word. Maybe difficulty is a better word. How difficult was it to turn down jobs? How difficult was it to accept jobs as you've gone through that process multiple times?
Yeah, much easier to turn down the jobs. And that's happened, really frequently. And I don't really like to talk about it.
Right.
And I think anyone that does, there's kind of a self-promotional tone to that or undercurrent, which I'm just not for. Way easier to do that. Accepting a job and leaving a team, excruciatingly difficult. And I won't ever forget standing in front of my team at BYU, standing in front of my team at Virginia when I stepped away, and quite frankly, a year ago at New Mexico. And those three, I won't ever forget that. And I can't describe what that's like in terms of leaving a group of people. It's very difficult.
I'm wondering, to tie all of this together, when you're fundraising, is the thing that is most motivating to the donor the look inside the program that they get from you, all the things that you talked about, but also, let's face it, everybody's into the winning and losing. Which is crazy at times when you think about it. But I'm thinking, if you're going into a new league now in the Pac-12, and, the 5 of the teams you'll be familiar with because you're all moving as a group. But it looks like right now anything is possible. I'd be, they're teams with problems. I'd be surprised if you were 7th or 8th. But I don't know that much is going to separate 1st from 6th place in that league next year. And looking at the team you left, New Mexico, and when you went back to play, you told us so many coaches and players have changed. Somehow they pull off 9-3 and 6-2. So it seems like everything is on the table.
It is for sure. And going back to the first part of your question, for the investors, at least in our program, they want everything, as do I. And so this team currently academically is the highest performer in the history of Utah State University. We currently serve in the community at a higher level than any other Division I program in terms of hours. So that's number one. The sense of behavior in the community and the type of young people they're bringing, that's all foundational to the development of amazing citizens. However, championships are expected first by me, and winning at a really high rate is expected by me, more than anyone else can even imagine, right? And that has to be part of it also. So really, I'm presenting a program and have led programs that really want it all, and have had success doing that. And as I frame what those statistics are and share how it's done and why it's done and what's been done in the past, those that are aligned with that philosophy, they're the ones that end up becoming not only investors in our program, but really close friends in a lot of cases. And to your point, this league parity, and I've been mentioning that from the beginning of the season. It played out exactly like that, including for us as well as other teams. And if there's money, and we did a really nice job of generating funds at New Mexico in the first year I was there, which really helped finance the transformation of a roster. And so it's possible now, right, in a fairly short amount of time, if resources are in place, for the turnarounds to happen quicker, maybe than ever, just because of the portal and how that works.
You remember when you were at BYU and you got into the Vegas Bowl, sometime afterward you said, man, we got way more exposure because we're on ESPN than we ever got on something that was called The Mountain. Yeah. And my neighbor down the street, 4 houses down, big BYU fan, he couldn't freaking watch the games. And now you're playing on CBS on regular television there during the day. I'm wondering how much that has changed to the benefit of Utah State to have such great exposure that you get.
Oh, it's been awesome. And quite frankly, I haven't received a message or a text from anyone that just doesn't see, kind of the grit, the resilience, the culture, and a player too, right now separating us from a championship team in year one. And so the spread of that and the visibility of that the commonality of what folks see is really helpful to the program and building our brand.
Well, Bronco, we appreciated having you on all this season as the bowl situation sorts itself out. We'd love to talk to you again. Good luck with recruiting in the portal and whatever staff changes you do or don't face.
All right. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Yep. Bronco Mendenhall, there he is. A little peek into running a college football program right there and managing your career at the same time.
Yeah, he's been there.
The Second Mountain. Intriguing. I think I want to go find that book.
Yeah, and he's an intellectual guy, obviously, and he takes counsel from people who he has to respect you. That's the thing about Bronco Mendenhall. If you gain his respect, you are in, and that is a great acknowledgement that man respects you for what you do. And I've had that, knowing him for 20-some years now, to be able to say that, and it's really cool. And some real just overall a decent first season. It won't be a good second season if that's what they do. But they were just this close, man. You look at Vegas and Boise. They're the two teams that are going to be playing in Boise coming up, what, is it Friday?
Overtime and a 1-point loss.
Gosh.
And you're 2 games out away from you flip those 2 games, you knock them out of the mix, and you put yourself in a 3-way tie for first place.
You were this close.
Yeah.
Now you got to keep it going, though. You got to not only keep it going, you got to get better.
And anything can happen. I really do think 6 teams could win it next year. I'm counting 2 out, but who knows, really, in the transfer portal. I mean, they could do some kind of crazy. I think Texas State and Oregon State have a long way to go. But everybody else doesn't take much imagination at all to see them winning.
Yeah, I think, and I hope this for Washington State and Oregon State, that now that the dust has settled, they can begin a rebuild, because along the way they've had very decent, if not excellent, programs at times.
Yeah.
And they just got everything taken away from them. But I think they can at least be at this level, be pretty good. And I would suspect when we get to 3-4 years from now and we look back, it's like, okay, they reestablished themselves.
Washington State went 6-6. Oregon State went 2-10. They're having a coaching change.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
give them a little more time.
Right.
But if Washington State won it next year, I wouldn't be surprised.
I probably wouldn't either.
Yeah, not that far away, especially with the transfer.
But I mean,
portal.
the rosters are so much overhauled. No one really has any idea as we sit here who's going to be where in 1 month, let alone 6-7 months.
Yeah. I looked at the bowl protections for Utah State. First Responder Bowl in Dallas playing Texas State, according to one guy at ESPN. Another guy has them playing in the former Bahamas Bowl, which is now listed as Bowl TBD, site and date to be announced. Utah State, Missouri State.
That's conclusive.
That is not even close to conclusive. That is nowhere near conclusive. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's game week for the Cougars, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. The Cougars are 1 win away from the college football playoff, and the only thing standing in their way is the Texas Tech Red Raiders in the Big 12 title game. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Cougar football. Then on Saturday, catch a special Big 12 title game edition of College Football Game Day beginning at 8 a.m. with a post-game show immediately following the game. Exclusive Big 12 title game coverage on The Zone is presented by JCW's, the Burger Boys. Quality and a lot of it. Your home for the best coverage of BYU football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. And now, your Rocky Mountain Chevy dealer strong play of the weekend.
Sean Williams in the game. Daniels, quick run, picked off. Pickett wasn't looking. Elijah Davis across midfield. He's got blockers. Davis cuts it across the length of the field for a pick six.
There's the Chevy Strong play of the game. Know it today after 3 o'clock. JJ and Alex call for it, and you can win fabulous prizes. Elijah Davis, 97 yards the other way.
Scooby-Doo. I think they call him Scooby, right?
Scooby Davis, yep.
He's Scooby-Doo-Doo all the way down the field. It seemed like that was just a turnover waiting to happen, Utah's defense, and they got it. That play when the Broncos blitzed everybody on that 2-point conversion, that reminded me of Scally so much.
Bring the house.
Yeah, they do. They do. That's another thing that could factor into Kyle's retirement. As Scally, he's getting up there. Still got plenty of time, but for him, the time he wants it now. We'll see how that plays out.
No time to talk about the games today. There's so much going on. The game's so overshadowed by all this stuff.
I know. It's this time of year, though.
It is that time of year.
Yeah. We got to do the NFL things, you know. That blocked 2-point conversion saved me.
Saved your bacon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, I got bacon now.
You got bacon. You were going to be without bacon. The Broncos are going down. PK's taking it now.
But that's the NFL for you, man. That's why it is what it is.
Did anybody have the Rams? That was the one, because I honestly, if I don't write them down, I forget. Anybody have the Rams?
No. Yeah, you had the Chargers.
I had the Chargers who beat the Raiders.
Correct.
As expected.
Yeah, as expected.
The Raiders are in
the quarterback
disarray.
broke his hand. He's going to play with it, like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
PK took the Denver Broncos and just got saved by Nick Bonito in that broken up 2-point conversion.
Lock of the week coming through.
And then I took the San Francisco 49ers to do what they did.
Yes, they did.
Make life miserable for Shedeur Sanders.
They done did what they did. Yes, they did. All right, there it is. So 3 more W's. Look at us go. Coming up next, Shehan Jeyarajah, CBS Sports National College Football writer on the coaching carousel, the Big 12 title game, the college football playoff rankings. That's next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Have you looked at the line for the Big 12 title game, PK?
I have not.
Want to take a shot at it?
Oh, no, I have. Okay, in full disclosure, I had it about 9, and then I saw it was like 13 and 14.
It's 13.5 right now. I would have guessed 10.
So I
figured it'd be double digits.
I went 9. Yeah, I mean, that's a heavy favorite. It's probably, I haven't looked at the title game lines beyond that, but it's probably the biggest favorite.
Georgia 2.5 over Alabama. Ohio State 5.5 over Indiana. Virginia by 3 over Duke.
Yeah.
So for the 4 power leagues,
that's
there
what I'm
you
talking
go.
about. Yeah.
That's healthy.
They're an overwhelming underdog.
That they are. James Madison by 22.5 over Troy. There's the only other.
Is that
double digit?
Is Kenny's brother's coaching there?
Kenny's brother. Kenny J?
No.
Barbecue? Oh,
No,
I didn't
no.
know you're making a joke.
Kenny Chesney? Bob Chesney? Is he,
that the coach?
Isn't he there?
I do not know that.
Yeah, he's there.
Okay.
And he could potentially be, in fact, he is a candidate at Penn State. And when I said earlier, well, clearly they haven't announced it when everyone else has announced it, and they've had the outside of firing Deshaun Foster at UCLA, they've had the longest. And it's clear to me that Penn State's next coach is still coaching. And Chesney is still coaching. And he's not related to Kenny. But I would claim it.
Penn State is getting roasted for taking so long while all these other schools, because allegedly they started, we can start the search early, but now all the people started search late, have their guy, and you still don't have a guy. So
yeah, but I mean,
it's a bad look. As long as you get the right guy, though, it doesn't matter.
Who's your guy, this guy, that guy? I mean, nobody knows. Nobody knows who's going to be good, who isn't going to be good. You look. I'm to the point where I look at the situation rather than the individual.
And even that doesn't tell you.
It doesn't.
Because the situation's changing so fast.
Whoever replaces Ryan Day is probably going to be pretty good.
Yeah, it is. But we didn't know Kurt Cignetti was going to do this.
No.
Yeah.
Absolute home run.
DJ PK, and we're joined now by Shehan Jeyarajah, CBS Sports National College Football writer. Shehan, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
There's some big games coming up, but do you have any time to write about big games, or is it just all coaching carousel, coaching carousel, coaching carousel?
It's a lot of coaching carousel. I'm excited to not think about the words Lane Kiffin for at least a couple of days. Hopefully that'll happen sometime this offseason. But I'm really lucky too. We've got a great team over at CBS Sports, and a lot of them are much more involved in the transaction and agent world than I am. So I like to just kind of hang around and say, hey guys, you guys should check out this Bear Bachmeier kid.
Yeah, really, because we've had some outstanding play, and the Bachmeier story is really good. He was sensational on Saturday, but it does seem like at a time when the sport should be at a fever pitch, we're being overtaken by coaching changes and coaching rumors, and we've got one in Provo with the potential of Penn State luring Kalani Sitake away, and it kind of stinks from the attention that should be focused on the games.
Yeah, no, it really is unfortunate. And I mean, we hear all this stuff about the calendar and all these structural things that should be changed. But the reality is that, I think that so many of the biggest issues facing the carousel of aging coaches right now are things that were frankly self-inflicted. I mean, we didn't have an early signing period until coaches advocated for it. We didn't have a fall and winter transfer window until coaches advocated for it. Like, all these things are things that were demanded in the past, and now they're coming back around. So, I think the thing that's the most disappointing, specifically, let's say about the Lane Kiffin thing, is this is one of the first times that we've ever had a coach who's actually competing for a national championship just drop out and just leave. Like, I think that we've reached a certain point where it's like we are so obsessed with the idea of resource and opportunity and contracts and all this sort of stuff that it's actually taking precedence for actual coaches on the field over their actual teams.
Well, that's awesome. What a great turn of events. Now, they could get rid of the early signing date and go back to February, but there's still the transfer portal, which there is still a loose connection with academics out there somewhere. And so I guess the transfer portal set up in early January so kids can move and be eligible for spring ball. And I don't know that they can move the thing to late spring, kind of the way basketball works. That seems to be what would be best for protecting the product in November and December, but I just don't see that getting done. So this is just going to keep happening, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, you mentioned it, like, what they could do is they could move player acquisition to after the school year. But it's very much that these coaches want to get kids on campus earlier and earlier. You think back, I mean, gosh, I haven't been covering college football that long, but it's been, when I was coming up, like 7 or 8 years ago when I was first in the industry, like, kids didn't really enroll, even as high school recruits, over the, in the winter. Maybe you had a few, maybe your quarterback came in a little early, but like, it wasn't really a priority to get your second recruit at linebacker on campus in December. Well, now there's such a rush to get kids on campus. There's such a rush to get them on the field. There's such a rush to give them opportunities. There's such a rush to get rid of some guys and bring in new players through the transfer portal and make sure that they get a chance to go through spring ball. Like, again, it's kind of this constant chase of trying to, flip things immediately. And I think that there's such obsession with that right now that, like you said, I mean, it's really something that I don't know that we can truly come back from, because I don't think that any side involved is particularly interested in getting rid of the spoils at this moment.
We do have games, thankfully, and the Cougars are one of those games that we have here. And the big talk is what they need to do as far as make the playoffs. That's the ultimate goal. And does it boil down to they absolutely need to win that game? If they have a close game and lose, they're out?
Yeah, I think that to feel confident, they have to win the game. Like, I mean, you look right now, obviously we're going to get a new set of rankings on Tuesday, but the reality of the situation is this. If the season ended today, they would not be in the college football playoff despite being an 11-1 team. And I think that puts them in such a weird position. I mean, I think that how many teams over the past couple of years have finished 11-1 in a power conference and not been ranked in the top 10? It's a very short list. And so, I mean, it's obviously an unfortunate position to be in, but they have to go into this game. And we've heard as well, the committee has cited over and over again, the reason that they don't value BYU is that they feel like they were outclassed by Texas Tech in their first game. So they have to kind of stem that tide and give themselves an opportunity to win it, because I just don't think that even playing well would be enough.
Do you think we need to get rid of the selection committee and go to multiple automatic bids per conference? Because either no one trusts the selection committee's competence or they don't trust its integrity. And who you're talking to, that probably goes back and forth. Maybe some people don't trust either one. But Sarkisian's been pushing really hard. And, you lost at Florida narrative. He's like, well, Notre Dame played for the national title and they lost to Northern Illinois at home. So what? And his point about the non-conference game and playing Ohio State, I thought that carries some weight too. Would it just be better if conferences got teams in and it's like the NFL where there's no committee and you just, wherever you rank in your conference, there you go?
So I just don't think that that's realistic for a couple of reasons. I mean, one, we talk about sort of devaluing regular season conference games, and I understand, some of that falls on deaf ears, but if the team that finishes fourth place in the SEC just goes just because, that's silly to me. Actually, let's even talk about this year in particular. If the Big Ten had 4 auto bids to the college football playoff, that means that we're having a conversation about a mediocre USC team or Iowa or somebody like that. There weren't 4 good teams in the entire Big Ten this year. And so if you create a situation where we're guaranteeing spots that you just get a chance to be a part of because you are part of a particular conference, I just think that ends up being silly. You mentioned, of course, the idea of the NFL playoffs where obviously if you win your division, then you're in. Well, again, we don't really have – the only comparison that you can really make to having multiple teams getting a spot because they finished 3rd or 4th place in their conference is making the Champions League in soccer, which, again, you don't actually it's not the same thing as a postseason either. You get a chance to play in a different league. So I just don't think that that's really a tenable situation. I think that certainly when you look in the case of the Big 12 and ACC, that would be enumerating, for example, the idea that they are a lesser conference than the SEC and the Big Ten. And there's de facto reasons, but it's a different thing for it to be enumerated. And so ultimately, I just don't think that's something that makes sense. I understand that the committee, there's always going to be frustrations, there's always going to be complaints, but I think that ultimately, this is still most likely a better situation than some of the alternatives.
Reminds me of a presidential election. Which person do I hate least or less? And you got this. Is it the committee system? Is it the, like an NFL system? I just don't know that we can do the NFL system as currently constituted, so we're going to have to live with it. But how about expansion of the number of teams? Is that a better solution, or what we'd like to talk about, if you want to eliminate the close plays at first base, you just move the bag back a foot, which obviously is a joke because then you just create a whole new bunch of close plays.
Yeah, I mean, and let's be clear, any solution is going to come with new complications. We just talked about all this stuff, all the problems that coaches were trying to solve with some of these calendar stuff that ended up creating much bigger situations than existed before. But I think that, when you talk about it, I think that ultimately we are going to end up at 16. I do think we're going to end up with a 5+11 model with 5 auto bids and 11 at-larges. I think for 2 reasons, right? One is, when you look at this, I think that buys have been kind of one of those things that maybe have become less valued than we expected for a couple of reasons, right? One, obviously we get rid of the idea of conference champions having buys, so kind of having that unbalanced 4 buys doesn't make as much sense. The other thing, too, is that I think that everybody's looking around and saying, whoa, it would be really cool to have a home playoff game. And, obviously, I think that if you're Georgia or if you're, Ohio State, you're not going to get one this year because you're too good. And I think that that's something that probably will change. I think we'll probably move to a 16-team playoff. I think that we'll probably move to all 8 of the top 8 seeds hosting first-round games. So I do think we are going to be heading in that direction. Now, again, there are people, especially in the Big Ten, who are we need 24 or 28 or 30. Obviously we don't need that, right? Obviously we don't need that. But I do think that 16 probably would be a number that would make some sense for some of the specific reasons that I, laid out. But at the same time, I mean, we just don't want to be caught in this endless loop of constantly adding and adding and adding. I mean, college basketball is finding itself in that mode right now, and it's a different sport. But, again, you have to put a line in the sand at some point and say, this is how much we feel like it's worth it.
If the playoffs expand and they need more dates, how vulnerable do you think the conference title games are? They're pretty wild now. I mean, there's 4 SEC teams at 7-1, so they got a tiebreaker, 2 are in, 2 are out, which reminds us of the Big 12 last year. The American Conference has got 3 teams tied for second at 6-2. There's 5 teams tied for second at 6-2 in the ACC. I mean, these things are a gigantic mess. The tiebreakers are really an argument for not having more of these automatic bids, because I don't know how you'd break some ridiculous tie for 4th in one of these leagues anyway. Do you think the conference title games are going to be in jeopardy? Because outside of Indiana, Ohio State, I can argue there's a reason that every single one of them is flawed.
Yeah, I mean, well, I would argue Tech BYU is a very legit title game too. But I think that when we move to this kind of expanded system, I mean, this was one of the things that I liked about the sort of system that we had last year, where the 4 top conference champions got buys, because it really was something significant to play for. And I think that I mean, look, there's so many programs. Texas Tech hasn't won an outright conference championship since 1955. That's a big deal. That is really cool that they're going to get an opportunity to do that. I do want that to be valued to a certain extent, right? So, and I mean, I think the other piece of it as well is sort of the television product of it all. And so, I mean, you ask, are we going to be in a position where these things get kind of go away? Well, that's, I think, one of the big complications. That I think that television really likes them. And I think that they really like being able to broadcast them. And they like that on a Saturday, the best of every conference is kind of coming to the forefront. I think the biggest thing that needs to change, and the ACC is kind of the poster child of this right now, is the way that we determine who's playing in those games right now is ridiculous. I mean, we have 16 to 18 team conferences where, like you said, through tiebreakers, we're essentially deciding who ends up where. I mean, actually, one that I give a lot of credit to is actually the American Conference, who straight up says our tiebreaker for picking teams making our conference title game, the first tiebreaker is just the college football playoff rankings, because what we care about is making sure that the best teams in the eyes of the college football playoff committee have a chance to play in these games to give ourselves the best chance of making it to the playoffs. So, I mean, I think that that's a big issue, the fact that, you have a 10-2 Miami team whose 2 losses came in conference versus a 5-loss Duke team, who obviously is a low-quality team, but their losses kind of came in an order that was preferable. I think that that's kind of the bigger thing right now, is we need a better way to try to figure out who exactly should be playing in these games in the first place.
I assume since you reside in the area, you'll be at the Big 12 title game?
Of course.
Then my question is, have you picked out which coat you're going to wear?
I've got a couple options on the table. The nice thing about the game being local for me is that I have my entire wardrobe.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I get to pick what I want. I do have one in mind. I debuted actually a coat at my friend's wedding last week, and I haven't worn it out to a game yet, so that might be the move.
You debuted a coat. Pretty sure I've never heard those words in those order ever in my life.
The man in his coat, man. I look forward to it.
Purple, yellow, green. Give us an idea.
Yes.
Oh, it's kind of hard to describe because so it's actually, I got it from India actually, which is part of why I saved it for my friend's wedding. It's a dark color, but lots of patterns on it. Let's put it like that.
Okay.
I'll be there, but I'll be the guy dressed in something that you would never look twice at.
Listen. As long as this whole thing started for me with back when I was a student reporter. I didn't want to be treated like a student reporter, and I'd show up to these press conferences, and the people over there in like cargo shorts and stuff, and I'm like, "We're at work, guys. You understand that, right?" So I always took it a little bit of a step up, and now I'm a national guy, so I feel like I have to keep up the image, right?
Oh yeah, I think it's awesome, man. You're. There's more than one reason why you stand out in a crowd. I'll leave it at that.
Especially at a BYU game, I'm sure.
Amen.
Sean, we appreciate it as always. Thanks for coming on and talking college football carousel with us, the coaching carousel and the title games. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
DJ and PK, our Big 12 championship game coverage is brought to you by JCW's The Burger Boys. Quality and a lot of it. I understand we're going to be at JCW's in American Fork tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, DJ and PK will be there from 3 to 4. DJ will get there around 2. If you want your picture taken and some autographs, he'll take care of that for you. Make a nice stocking stuffer for Christmas for people who love him, and there's many, many thousands beyond that we even thought of, man. Since you've changed jobs here, I've had a bunch of people come after me on that one, too. And I've had to offer up a bunch of explanations. I said, follow the money, man. That's all I know.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Slacker Radio Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 801-210-6800 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. The Big 12 title game berth has been secured. PK, how could anything be bigger than that?
Well, the coaching situations are big. I mean, that's just they'll overshadow it until the positions are full. I mean, like for Ole Miss and LSU, now it's on to the game for obviously for Ole Miss, and for LSU, they're going to have a hoe down.
What was that laugh?
Well, he wasn't. I don't even know. Does he know what we're talking about here?
You know what we're talking about?
There was a video of Lane Kiffin confronting a reporter.
Yeah.
A reporter took some lyrics and used them to reference Lane Kiffin's career path.
Yeah, so I think they're going to have
How
a
was that?
hoe down in LSU, in Baton Rouge. I've been to Baton Rouge. I know they have hoedowns in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
I've been to Baton Rouge.
Apparently, Lane Kiffin has now gotten together with a reporter, and they've talked it all out.
Oh, like the Boylan-Gordon thing?
Smoothed it over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Lane's off to LSU.
If only I would have smoothed it over with Majerus.
If only. Would have taken half the fun out of it. Neither one of you would have enjoyed it as much.
That was a decade of my life. That was a long decade. But it was also a fun decade.
See? I bet he'd describe it the same way.
Oh, yeah. There were great times galore.
You made lots of people uncomfortable at both your places of employment. But secretly, you two are like, this is great.
10 years toe-to-toe with him, man.
Yeah.
He helped make me who I am.
I wonder if he looked at the beat writers when he was at St. Louis and thought, child's play.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Have to ask Alex if there was any comments about that. He was there as an assistant. He might know. Wasn't there the whole time, but he was there some of the time.
The funny thing is that the players would tell me how he would talk about me.
You get the backdoor quote.
Yes. And there was a guy at the LA Times who was in Vegas. You know, they have the summer stuff. And Majerus goes up to him, and Majerus had told him a ton of stuff, and then he would call and tell me, right? And he pulled a, what was it? Was it Judas? He pulled, or who denied? Was it Peter? Who denied Jesus? Because
Peter 3 times before the cock crowed.
Majerus goes up to the guy.
You told PK.
Do you know?
do you know PK?
Yeah.
No. Classic.
And it got to the point that not only did he know me, that after I moved up here, when I would go down sometimes, I'd stay at his house.
And then when he got the SC job, when Jeyaraj got the SC job, it was in December, and he resigned on my birthday. And nobody had cell phones then, at least I didn't. And so my buddy calls me, and because my wife and I went out to dinner. We come back, it's like 8, 9 o'clock. There's a message from him, and he says, "You're not going to believe this. You got to call me back." And I knew what he was talking about. I was just, "You're not going to believe this. Call me back."
Not only do I believe you, but I tried to tell you.
So
we talked about Kalani this morning. We had to wrap this all up for people in a 60-second bundle. Penn State's coming. They've been through several candidates who've gotten extensions. They wanted Cignetti. They wanted Rule. And they're staying at Indiana and Nebraska. Got a long list of people. And now Kalani. But he's not the only coach out there being mentioned. I mean, it seems like a wide net. But it seems like everybody believes he's somewhere between candidate 3 and 1.
What I'd heard last week, and Yak and I talked about it yesterday, was that he could have it if he wanted it.
So does he want it?
Well,
there's the question.
He has not made the move yet.
You know, I'm not willing to say that. I'm not going to pretend that I know, so people will think, "Oh, PK's on the inside." I'll tell you what I know, and I'm hesitant to tell you beyond what I hear, unless what I hear is solid enough. So it could happen, yes. And I think that if it happens for BYU, it's a blow. But I mean, I think Jay Hill is an excellent football coach, and unless he goes with him, Jay Hill would be the overwhelming obvious candidate. Everybody knows that. That's not breaking news. And then the program goes on, man, and we'll see. I'm probably like the fans thinking, "Gosh, he's got so much here." We talked about his dad. Tom is on the sidelines and all. When he was at Utah, Tom used to have it was like a station wagon, and the car was decorated in paraphernalia. You couldn't miss it. And it'd be in a parking lot there at practice. So that would change. I mean, that's way on the other side of the country.
It's a different deal,
Yeah.
and lots of people, I've read what Penn State people are writing about this, and, the question, well, he hasn't lived in this part of the country, hasn't recruited this part of the country, and then they basically do what I do during the show, and they argue with themselves. And they're like, but in the era of the transfer portal, does it matter? Players are coming from all over the country.
Well, Mark
only
Pope
coming
gets
for 1
the
or 2
kid
years.
from Farmington, Chandler, who was on a mission and committed, and then he goes with him.
Yeah.
Devin Dampier, I'm sure he didn't grow up in the Phoenix area. Gosh, I hope one day I'm the quarterback at Utah.
And James Franklin was recruiting nationally at Penn State. He brought guys from all over.
I don't think you can be a national contender without recruiting national anymore. The days of
There's probably
being
something
regional,
to be said for that. Yeah. Why would you limit yourself?
Alabama's gone to Hawaii to get a quarterback. So they've gone to California too. So why not?
They've gone to California with an aching in their heart.
There it is. Sing it. Sing it.
So you do need to recruit. And I think so many players I see, like BYU, Utah gets Cole Bishop out of Georgia. Mm-hmm. Isn't that where Alexander Yak, is he from Georgia? Their cornerback at BYU?
But can you build a whole program doing that?
Well, I mean, you have to build a program on getting the best players you can get. And in the world of where it is now, that's yes and yes. The world is the entire country is your recruiting base, particularly with transfers when you have guys get older and things that they possibly couldn't have considered. Now all of a sudden they are considering.
2 or 3 years later, they look at things different.
Yeah.
We keep talking about how much guys mature in their late teens and early 20s.
Right.
So a 20 or 21-year-old might look at Penn State differently.
Oh, yeah.
It's not so far away.
Utah had that linebacker, Diamante, Mo, I think they called him. And so we're down there in the parking lot of Rose Bowl, and they have these breakout interviews. And so I get an opportunity to talk to him one-on-one. And he was a Penn State guy, wasn't he? Yeah. And so now he's a senior. This is it. And I said, when you're growing up, and I forget where he's growing up, I said, did you ever imagine yourself playing football for the University of Utah, and he just busted up. It's like, no, I didn't consider it even remotely. Well, then he goes through what he goes through, and then he realizes, hey, man, if you do really well at the U of U, you got a shot to play in the NFL. And they had a spot for me, and I went there. And so, yeah, they needed me, I needed them. So I don't really care that Kalani doesn't have big ties to the Northeast. It doesn't matter. Can you get the guys? Are you personable? Is the money there? That's the big thing. What is available financially for BYU? What is available financially for Penn State? BYU's going to they've done well upping it, paying the coordinators are 7 figures, but do they go more? Do you go 8 figures on the head coach? Do you have this? The coaches that were with Bronco that went to Virginia, I knew several of them, and they told me, wow, man, what we had at BYU is peanuts compared to what we have at Virginia. And Virginia ain't no national power. And BYU has stepped it up. Well, now they're going to have to step it up more. They got no problem stepping it up in basketball.
No,
now it's smaller a number of people.
They're going after the number one pick in the country. Yeah, big money.
And that's what they're going to have to do for football. And football costs more. But I think that the U of U in 2024, I was just reading this out of Desert News yesterday because I was looking up Kyle's contract. The program made $90 million. It spent $50 million, but they made a $40 million profit at the U of U.
All right.
That is major money.
Yes. So why jeopardize it when you got it going? And they got it going
Kyle,
right now.
Yeah. What you look at his contract. He gets 2 cars. He gets free insurance. He gets free gas. What the crap?
You left out the country clubs.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's a given. Everybody gets that. You get free gas. Free gas.
Cool.
He can't afford to pay.
He could.
But, I mean, they just on and on and on.
Yeah. But so much rides on that one person that higher.
Yuck, you asked me about the Eagles going down there? Because that apparently got on tape. He's driving.
Oh, he's not going to drive, PK.
Okay, then he's chartering.
Now you're talking.
I'm just saying.
Well, I thought we stop in St. George and play golf.
Well, he is
charter to St. George, play golf, and then drive the rest of the way.
St. George.
Kyle has chartered to St. George.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
So this is not out of the realm of possibility.
But he had reasons. But yeah. Oh, I better not. I don't want to tell too many stories here. But that's what BYU needs to do. And although at some point you got to say, like they did with Marion, dude, we've given you the money. And your family's telling you, go get more, go more. We're done. If you want to go, go. And sure, that was a blow that he left. Oh, all they did was go 11-1. So how big of a blow was it?
Worked out fine. Worked out fine.
Was he going to...
He wasn't a difference in the one either.
Right.
Those issues were at the line of scrimmage.
Right.
Yeah.
So they can only go if they say, hey, we've given you everything that we want to give you in order for you to be successful. And if that's the case, and he says, okay, I'm out of here, what are you going to do?
Could this work out great for BYU and that it forces them to give him resources he wasn't getting,
That's
the
what
resources that make the difference between 11-1 and dare to dream big, PK.
It's hard to make the difference between 11-1
and 15-0.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
I mean, 11-1
is awesome. I know.
Yeah. And then you factor in on the heels of 10-2.
No wonder Penn State's calling.
Duh.
That was the first thing I thought. And I saw some initial, really? I'm like, 22-3. I mean, wouldn't be doing your job if you didn't call it 22-3. If you're the Penn State AD, you got to at least make the call.
Would Urban go 22-2?
Urban was, 22-2.
The difference that everybody knew Urban was
a short timer from the second of the press conference.
Right.
The questions, as soon as it opened up.
Right.
Multiple questions. I wasn't even there. I was listening on the radio. Other people were there covering it. And literally everybody was there was asking, how long are you here?
Yeah.
In 40 different ways.
Now, the Big 12 is having a conference call. Is it Zoom? Today at 11:30 between Joey Maguire and Kalani. And he's got to be asked about it. Pardon?
Yormark's supposed to be on it, too.
Yormark? Yeah. And so he's got to be asked about it. He just simply has to be. And he will be. And
then we'll have a topic
awaiting
for
his
tomorrow.
response.
Right. And JJ and Alex will have a topic for this afternoon.
Well, it's at 11:30, so everybody will have it. Unless you specifically, because of your animosity towards the besties, you did not include them.
No, Yak just said later in the day.
I said 11:30.
I thought you just said 2 o'clock, Yak.
No, I just said 11:30.
I said
said it.
Yormark's going to be on the press conference, too.
I just said
press conference 2. Yes, okay.
But I had previously said
Yes.
11. I named a literal time.
I know, but
jerk.
that's why I was confused. I didn't know. I was like, East Coast, are we on BYU TV time? I didn't know.
No, I speak in the time. My time zone is always where my feet are.
Well, that's not true.
Well,
You played
I
around the time
mean,
zone
dreaming of going to Hawaii today, but that's not
and
going
it
to
was
happen.
a half hour off, and I was thoroughly confused.
11:30. He's going to be asked about it, and what is going to be his response? And his response is going to be, if you don't have access to listen to it, you can. You'll hear.
It'll be
you'll
everywhere
read the
immediately.
tweets and blah blah blah. Like I'm going to go, hey, bro, you leaving or what? That's going to be my question.
It is not going to be your question. All right, DJ and PK, your feedback next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's time for your feedback. What do you have to say about today's show? Odds makers listing Kalani third for the Penn State job at 15% behind Lincoln Riley and Brian Dable. Other sites have him as the lead contender. Would he take it if offered? Larry, hopefully they hire Stinkin' Riley.
Lincoln Riley?
Yep. And we got other people. Why would anybody want Lincoln Riley? Because of what he did at Oklahoma, not because of what he did at USC.
Yeah, and he argued just that he took over for Stoops and the program was rolling. And then after a while, it flushes out and you become the face of the program, not your predecessor.
Yep.
Although SC takes a big hit, though. They are, what are they?
9-3.
Yeah. It's not dog meat here.
It's not what SC wants or expects.
It's still not dog meat.
It is not.
I know dog meat.
They're a little removed from their last conference title, and they're not happy about it.
You, sir, are dog meat.
Dave, he has said repeatedly he wants to be the Polynesian LaVell Edwards. I think Kalani plays a long game and stays right where he's at. He's got a good thing going, and is likely set for life already.
But you don't know the particulars. You're just looking at it from the sky. And I get that. You would think that that's, if you're just looking at it from a distance, that's what you would think.
Brooks, he's not going anywhere. He has a perfect situation at BYU. If he went anywhere else, he wouldn't have the patience that BYU has had or will have with him.
Okay, well, how do you know he thinks he needs patience? You can argue. I always thought that if Steve Cleveland and Dave Rose had coached in the Pac-10 the way they could recruit, they would have knocked it out of the park. Being around those two guys and what they were able to do to build a trash program and how much the restrictions that aren't there now at BYU.
Were there then.
Yeah. And Kalani, he's a charmer. I told the two ADs when Mark Pope was hired at his press conference, I literally told them, why do I feel like I need to have my hand on my wallet when I talk to Mark Pope? Kalani is authentic that way. I don't feel I need to have my hand
on your wallet.
Yeah. And Pope, he worked the system, and good for him. And I wish him nothing but the best at Kentucky. But how real was it? How genuine was it? But, I mean, he has to do that. I don't criticize him. It sounds like a criticism. I get it. But that's what the job requires. You have to schmooze. But Kalani has been schmoozing his whole life because it just comes so natural. It's not even schmoozing to him. It's just his personality.
All true.
And so why wouldn't he think if I went to school XYZ that I couldn't recruit the crap out of that place?
There's almost no chance he would. I mean, why wouldn't he think that?
Right.
I mean, you're not a good recruiter if you think, well, I'm pretty good if I stay here. You think you're a good recruiter because you think you're a good recruiter.
Early on, and I can tell you this because I talked to him about it, he used to bristle at the thought, well, man, you can get the Polynesians. No. Do not pigeonhole me as the Polynesian recruiter. No. Because I want to get, if there's white kids, if there's black kids, if there's whatever kids, I want to be able to get them if they want to come to my place. And he resisted that label, and rightly so.
Don't put a limit on somebody.
Right.
Don't put a limit.
I mean, the influx of Polynesians has changed the game, but you need everybody.
We got to take a break, and when we come back, Jake and Ben are taking over. Stay with us right here on The Zone.